Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of What If Naruto Became the Hunter Fox of Konoha. If you enjoy the video then like, share and subscribe as it inspires me to make more such videos. So let's get started. Chapter 11 Pit Stop. It was a scorching hot day in bird country and nature was taking advantage of it. The plants used the energy of the sun for their feeding, and animals would be at the river hunting for fish. It was a pretty quiet day, except for a few distant noises of metal clashing against metal. Suddenly, a small yet increasing in size fireball could be seen coming towards the once peaceful river. The animals scattered away as the little fireball pretty much tripled in size. One human wearing a mask looked at the attack's destruction before turning back to his opponent. It was now close to 6 months since Naruto managed to defeat Mishimoto, Suna's missing nin with the aid of Temurai, and now here he was at the verge of eliminating the last one of the B-ranked list. The guy's name is Tatsu, yes, a fitting name for the insane fire techniques he uses, and Naruto was cursing himself for not knowing any Suton jutsu to counter the damn imbecile. His Futen jutsus were unusable as they were weak in comparison to Katan, and his own Katan techniques doesn't even come close to the man's ability with the elements, so the only advantage Naruto had right now was the extra chakra capacity and his physical abilities, which were twice as better than 6 months before. Well, Hunter-san, it appears we are at a stalemate. I can't hit you with my techniques, and you can't come any closer. Now, I know better than to underestimate the Hunter Fox while in battle, as I know many did in the past and ended up in a body bag, said Tatsu, to which Naruto looked at the man trying to seize him up. The name Hunter Fox was earned after one of his prey that managed to escape from his clutches for a while. Naruto managed to capture him in the end, but not before he managed to spread the word that Konoha had a new hunter nin that was slowly extinguishing the bingo book. Naruto, I know you're just waiting for his chakra to vanish, but that won't happen. His control is very good for that. We will have to use that technique, said Kyubi, earning a sigh in dismay from the blonde. He knew the fox was right, but the technique he referred to was never attempted before in the midst of battle. Not to mention that the technique's after effects would cause a lot of damage to Naruto's skin. However, since Kyubi managed to heal him in the end, he guessed the worst it could happen is immeasurable pain. I know I'll regret this later on, but here goes. Charging chakra to his feet once more, Naruto vanished in thin air and charged against Tatsu with a direct attack. Tatsu immediately began his share of hand seals before gathering as much air as he could before releasing the Katan Daryuken no Jutsu Fire Release, Great Dragon Fire Jutsu. Immediately a huge fire dragon appeared and charged against the hunter nin, who breathed a little bit before focusing on the tiger seal for his new technique called Katan and Kao no Yoroi Fire Release, Flame Armor Jutsu. Immediately, Naruto focused some of Kyubi's chakra through his tenketsu and expelled it from every tenketsu, thus enveloping his body with flame, before facing the dragon head-on. Tatsu couldn't believe what this hunter nin did, and believed for a second that he had a death wish. Didn't matter though, as with the hunter fox now dead, not only himself, but the rest of those who no longer belonged to the Konoha could go on with their lives without being hunted. However, just as he turned his back to the onslaught, he suddenly felt something piercing his neck. It lasted only 1 second and Tatsu was dead. Naruto's body was burned all over and his clothes had gone up in ashes. The pain slowly ebbed away, but the blonde couldn't help but grind his teeth in annoyance as Kyubi was using his chakra to heal the burning. God, I hate this jutsu, remind me why I created it in the first place? Thought Naruto, earning a snicker from the fox living inside of him. For these type of situations maybe? Or maybe you became a sadist since you left that pitiful village, so you decided to harm your body at the worst way possible? Either way, you finally managed to finish the B-ranked section of the book. The A-ranked ones will be much more powerful than those you fought thus far. I'd suggest you take a little time to train, and maybe even acquire a third element to use in case we run into someone with a stronger element than yours, like either Suton water or Doton earth. I happen to know more about Doton techniques, so after you're able to manipulate the element, I could teach you, explained Kyubi, earning a sigh in dismay from the blonde. Naruto took a scroll from his holster and summoned some clothing for him along with a new mask. Naruto, at one point, thought best to order an extra set of clothes and one new mask in case he ran into situations like this one. I have to thank Hana-chan for purchasing another outfit for me. Without it, I'd be naked and resort to use a henge until I reached a store that sold leather jackets. Thought Naruto, as he remembered Hana. They had spent some time together and slowly, but surely they had gotten to know each other very well. In 6 months, though a long-distance relationship, Naruto and Hana managed to improve their relationship greatly. They were now secret boyfriend and girlfriend, with a handful of people knowing about it. Tsunade, Jiraiya and Kakashi from his part knew of the relationship, and on Hana's part Asuma and Kurenai also knew. They chose to keep it a secret since apart from those mentioned before, no one except for the Jounin knew where Naruto was and what he was doing. Also, the Hunter Fox earned quite the reputation in 6 months, and Hana would be top on the list for his enemies. Even if Hana was now stronger than before since she started training under her mother again, there was no reason to advertise their relationship and endanger her. Also, Hana would on occasions request some sea-level recon mission towards somewhere so that she could meet with Naruto from time to time in order to catch up and do stuff. I remembered the last time Naruto. You were quite the animal back then. I seriously thought she would pass out from her orgasms, said Kyubi, once again being a pervert, making Naruto snort. In 6 months' time, the Kyubi proved himself even a bigger pervert than Jiraiya, and that was almost impossible, Naruto thought. The blonde decided to ignore the fox, since if he acknowledged him, the fox would find a way to transform his answer into something perverted. Looking at the corpse of the last B-ranked member, Naruto did the old ritual of severing the man's head and sealing it into a scroll along with a message to either the hunter-nin commander or the Hokage, before summoning Gamakichi and asking for the head to be sent with Naruto's regards. After so much time killing, the act itself no longer affected Naruto that much. Of course, the bad feeling was still there, but it didn't stop him from doing it for the sake of duty. Thinking of the word duty, Naruto wondered about his life. Truth be told, Naruto only killed those who deserved it, but that didn't diminish the blonde's feeling that perhaps all that he knows to do now is how to kill. Other missions like escorting someone, protecting a caravan, sending a document, became somewhat of a strange concept for the blonde. The blonde remembered sharing his thoughts with his girlfriend once, and even remembered her concern. She was worried that in time Naruto would get used to killing, that he wouldn't even feel the difference any longer. He even remembered reading a letter from the Hokage expressing the same concern, also offering a quick vacation for him if he so wished to. If you wish to continue this path without worrying about the consequences, then a vacation is not such a bad idea. You've been killing people for over a year now, and while such number don't bother someone like me, you on the other hand, would snap in time. Stop for a while and return to Konoha. The missing nins won't simply vanish from this existence. There will be a lot of time to hunt them down, said Kyubi, earning a nod from Naruto, who then remembered the very reason he left his village in the first place. How can I come back with the Akatsuki coming after me? I'm much stronger than before, but I still can't face them in battle. Also, I would be jeopardizing the village's safety by doing so, thought Naruto, earning a sigh in dismay from the fox inside of him. Naruto, I don't know if you forgot about the fact that your weights were still on when you faced Katsu, meaning that without them you could very well give one of the Akatsuki quite a run, said Kyubi. The blonde was surprised upon hearing this since he admitted that he didn't remember wearing the weights. However, the thought of becoming that strong was hard to grasp. At Konoha . Tsunade was in her office writing up some paperwork regarding some orders to be sent to the Anbu Corps. It had been 6 months since Naruto's mission towards Suna, and not a lot had changed since then. The prisoner didn't show signs of telling his connection with Danzo, but according to Jiraiya, the information was now worthless since the Akatsuki stopped following Naruto's false trails. At first, the blonde Hokage was worried for her surrogate little brother, but as Jiraiya, and judging from the number of heads she received, she thought Naruto could give the organization quite a run. She was worried, though, about Naruto's welfare as a hunter-nin. The number of kills was astonishing, and Naruto even surpassed the hunter-nin commander in eliminating in number of pages from the bingo book. However, it was the toad Gamakichi that warned her to Naruto's mood changes. The toad told her once that while Naruto's expression was visibly affected after killing someone, now he didn't even flinch, and the killings were even more professional than before. 2 weeks ago she offered him some vacation, but Naruto insisted that he didn't need one. She knew he wouldn't like the idea of returning to the village and attracting unwanted attention from the Akatsuki. Honestly, I'd like him to come back now. Most of the Konoha 12 have become jounin by now and would be a valuable aid against the enemy. Of course, by now, Naruto is as strong as them, if not stronger. Thought Tsunade as suddenly the all-familiarized smoke filled her office, announcing the arrival of Gamakichi. Normally, the toad would arrive with a sour mood because of Naruto's behavior, but strangely, the toad was smiling. Tsunade-sama, Naruto brings the last of the B-ranked section, said Gamakichi as he handed the scroll to the Hokage. Normally, finishing the entire B-ranked section of the bingo book was a remarkable feat for a hunternin, but Tsunade didn't like to celebrate the fact that Naruto pretty much became a killer. "Why are you smiling, Gamakichi?" asked Tsunade, now a little suspicious of the little toad. "He left you a message, Tsunade-sama. Everything is right there," smiled Gamakichi as he handed a letter to the Hokage, who opened up and began to read. "Hello there, Bat-chan. It's been a while since we've got to talk about things other than me killing missing nins, and I know you're worried about me. I guess I got a little too obsessed with getting stronger and ridding Konoha of its enemies. However, I'm afraid something is going to happen should I continue on this path. Chances are that I snap. I guess you were right in the end, Bat-chan. I was wondering though, if that vacation offer was still up. After a 2-week vacation, I could perhaps return to run the ranked section of the bingo book. I'm waiting for a response here, Bat-chan. Can I return to the village for 2 weeks? Love. Naruto." After reading it, Tsunade wrapped the scroll up and looked to the window of her office for a while. She couldn't take the smile off her face after what she read. She didn't have to force him to come back, instead he chose to do so. The blonde Hokage couldn't help but see wisdom in Naruto's words and wonder how much Naruto had changed since he left Konoha. Actually, she was relieved since a while ago, Naruto's fake mission came to an abrupt ending when Akatsuki stopped following their false leads and turned to look for Naruto on their own. If Akatsuki managed to find him, they would surely capture him, and God knows what would happen to the blonde. Another advantage of Naruto's return would be that those damn brats from his graduation school would stop pissing her off with their never-ending questions about when he would return from his mission with Jiraiya. Tsunade remembered one time when she smashed her fist on her desk after both Sakura and Ino barged in demanding to know about Naruto. Surely, the two girls were now a bit reluctant to even talk to the blonde Hokage, but at least, she found some peace. Picking up an empty scroll, she wrote an authorization letter for Naruto to come home and take a full 2-week vacation before handing it to Gamakichi, who hadn't stopped smiling since he got here. "Gamakichi-san, I guess we won't see each other for a while, so take care, okay?" smiled Tsunade, to which the toad nodded. "You too, Tsunade-sama." Finally Naruto showed some senses. I was beginning to worry about him. All he ever thought about was to fight and kill. "I'll deliver the message right away," said Gamakichi, before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Tsunade, afterwards, relaxed in her chair, while drinking a cup of tea. Sure, Naruto's return managed to relax her, and she was picturing the blonde just taking his mask off and greeting her Naruto style. Unfortunately, every time she tried to relax, someone would always come in and piss her off. "Thinking about me, Tsunade-hime? Well, I'm sure you can't help it though. No one can resist my charms," boasted Jiraiya as he entered through a window on the left corner. "What are you doing here, Jiraiya?" asked Tsunade, clearly not wanting to be bothered more than she already was. "Well, I saw Gamakichi here and thought that you had news on my student, but from your smile, I can see you got what you wanted him to do," stated Jiraiya, earning a smile and a nod from the Hokage, who threw him Naruto's letter. The old pervert caught it, and opened the scroll, and turned to read it. Afterwards, he closed and looked at Tsunade with a smile on his face. "I'm sure that fool Geishi doesn't even realize that Naruto managed to beat his record twice in a row. Well then, since he's coming back, guess I'll stay and see him. I wonder if the bathhouse is already occupied." wondered Jiraiya out loud, before seeing the incoming punch on his face. Sadly, though, Tsunade was far too fast and far too powerful for him to do anything, so he was sent flying throughout Konoha. Damn pervert, thought Tsunade as she returned to her chair and took another sip of her tea. With Naruto. Naruto was walking towards an inn he found on his way back to Konoha. He received the message from Tsunade saying that she was glad he saw reason in stopping for a while and that she happily granted him his much-needed vacation. However, it was already getting dark, and the blonde didn't see reason in speeding things up. That being said, he rented a room for the night, now under his real name as per Jiraiya's instructions. Since Akatsuki stopped following his false leads, Jiraiya communicated with him telling that they would be out looking for the blonde right now. The pervert advised Naruto on using both his name and the Hunter Fox name, since Akatsuki would follow him instead of the hunternin. If the Akatsuki were to find out about Naruto's new profession, the blonde would have to retire from said duty and return to being a genin once more. Thinking about it actually made Naruto laugh. Because of his job, he had to kill a whole list of jounin-level ninjas, and to think that his official rank is genin, the blonde couldn't help but laugh out loud at the idiocy behind ranks. Nowadays, attaining a certain rank in a ninja's life was pointless to him. Of course, he would think like that, seeing that he was a genin and yet, he managed to kill jounin. Yeah, could you imagine where you might be if you didn't choose to become a hunternin? If there was one thing I truly detested, it was seeing you getting your ass kicked all the time. Thankfully, you decided to put your chakra abundance to good use and train for real. Now, sign that damn registration book under your real name, and let's get some sleep. I don't feel like looking at your face any longer than I need to, said Kyubi before he saw Naruto smiling, thus sensing an imminent little funny remark from the blonde. Love you too, furball, said Naruto, before smiling upon hearing the Kyubi snort. A couple minutes later, he was laying on a comfy bed. He wondered what he would do once he arrived in Konoha. Visiting a few selected people was a must in his agenda. Hana wanted to get him to meet her mother, but because of his job he was never around the village, and being a clan head, Tsum wouldn't leave the village unless for diplomatic relations, and even so, Konoha wouldn't send an inuzuka to negotiate. Although being rather level-headed, Tsum did have a hot temper just like any inuzuka, and could say something that would cause quite a situation. So instead, Naruto pictured that Tsunade would send someone who also came from a highly clan, but also had knowledge on how to be a politician. He continued to think about, and decided that he would of course visit his girlfriend, and her mother. Hopefully, Kiba won't be there, as it could become a problem. His sense of smell could alert him to Naruto's presence, and his plan would be shredded. Naruto remembered that Kurenai was expecting her son when he left, and he remembered Hana mentioning about little Asuma on one occasion, so he thought about visiting her as well. Others like Iruka, Kakashi, and Tsunade were obvious since they were family to the blonde. He even remembered to pay a visit to Anko and Kira since it's been far too long since he saw them. Another thing that he wanted to do was to invest in real estate. With his money, he could afford to acquire a few houses in Konoha and then placing them out for rent. Apart from the hunter-nin income, he would have a second source of income to aid him in the future. Also, he would look for a nice new apartment for him to live, since the one the Sandaime Hokage gave him was becoming rather small for him. Now completely under covers, Naruto closed his eyes and let his dreams take over his wonderings. However, something would soon happen that wouldn't let him enjoy those dreams. A few miles away from the very hotel where he was staying, two men, one bigger than the other, wearing black cloaks with red clouds, were approaching the inn. Their source informed them that one Uzumaki Naruto just checked in a hotel in Fire Country, so they decided to follow the lead and see where it would lead them. When the rat inside Konoha stopped sending them information about Naruto's whereabouts, the group decided to pursue the last Bajois on their own. Still, it was clear that the leader wasn't so fond of said information, as he chose to vent out his frustrations inside a cave that now is pretty much non-existent. Itachi, are you sure the brat is where he is supposed to be? I mean, we've been following him for some time, but with no avail whatsoever, complained Kaizen, as he walked side by side with the Uchiha. I have a suspicion that Jiraiya of the Sannin aided Naruto in escaping from our clutches all those times. Now it appears that Konoha sent him on a solo mission. I wouldn't do such a foolish thing as to underestimate a Jinchuriki, even if said Jinchuriki is Uzumaki Naruto. After we arrive, be prepared for any eventual traps, advised Itachi, earning a snort from Kaizen, who in turn just replied saying that anyone who came after him would have to face his sword. It didn't take the too long to reach the hotel, and they were already in front of the door room. However, this time it wouldn't be so easy. A few minutes ago, Naruto awoke because what he felt nearby. He didn't know who those presences were, but one possessed a large supply of chakra. Naruto could hear their steps as they stopped in front of his room before knocking on the door. What do you think, Kyubi? Thought Naruto, as he saw the fox deep in wonder for a while. It appears the pervert's plan worked. You don't have to be afraid of them knowing your hunter-nin identity. I'm afraid, though, that you must come up with a plan to escape, maybe stall them for a while, stated Kyubi, earning a sigh in dismay from Naruto, who actually berated himself from missing the overstoic Uchiha and the big sushi Kaizen. Well, let's pack my stuff and get the hell out of here, thought Naruto as he dressed into another set of clothing, so as not to attract suspicion. Upon opening the door, Naruto fainted surprised and looked at the two with his eyebrows frowned. Uzumaki Naruto, you are to come with us right away. Willingly or not, that's your choice, said Itachi before Kaizen took his sword off and positioned to strike at moment notice. Naruto, though, smiled and made his most popular hand seal. Itachi sighed in dismay at the blonde's attempt of engaging them. I'm very disappointed in seeing that even after training under a Sannin you still rely on such a pathetic battle technique, said Itachi, seriously wondering why Naruto's smile never left his face. You know, Itachi, for an Uchiha you sure open your mouth a lot. And the interesting thing is that only dog shit comes out of it. Tsuchikage Bunshin no Jutsu, multiple shadow clone jutsu, shouted Naruto, and immediately, thousands of Narutos emerged around the three. Suddenly all of them vanished, thus making Kaizen and Itachi vanish as well, trying to follow the real one. Once outside, the duo looked at the extensive army of clones smiling at them. Just as Kaizen was about to make fun of Naruto's abilities, the duo heard the word scatter and cursed the heavens for the blonde's inhuman chakra amount. Naruto devised this strategy to be able to escape without getting noticed by the organization, and truth be told, he didn't expect his plan to work. When the clones left the hotel, the real Naruto left as well, but in the direction of Konoha. The clones, though, created small groups and left in all directions at once. Kaizen wanted to shred the brat to pieces. Itachi, on the other hand, was impressed at the boy's quick thinking. He used his chakra to create that many shadow clones, then he told them to scatter to different directions, providing enough distraction for the real one to slip by and leave unnoticed. Very smart, Naruto. I must admit I underestimated you, but that won't happen again, thought Itachi as he went back to Naruto's room to see if he left something worthy of some information. Naruto, however, was long gone and headed straight to Konoha. Traveling at night was considered a risk for all those who had even one shinobi lesson for obvious reasons. For once, the visibility would be seriously reduced and the chances of falling into a hidden trap are very high. Naruto, though, didn't need to worry, as when he uses the fox's chakra, his visions become enhanced, thus aiding him in his travel. Right now, Konoha would be 2 to 4 hours away from his distance, quite a long trip to do without resting, but Naruto didn't have such luxury, as Itachi could follow his trail and end up capturing him in the long run. By the way, nice trick back there. It took quite a chunk of your chakra, but I guess those pompous bastards didn't see that coming. Head straight to Konoha and we'll be safe, advised Kyubi, earning a nod from Naruto as he maintained a steady pace towards the village that he left more than a year ago. I wonder how much Konoha changed since they no longer saw the demon lurking around their path. Maybe they created a new festival to celebrate some false rumor that I was killed somehow, thought Naruto before he heard some snicker from the fox within him. I don't know why you take up with those damn idiots, but hey. Just know that I would do things a little bit different, said Kyubi, before hearing Naruto laughing. Yeah, kill them. laughed Naruto as he continued down the path towards the village. With Itachi and Kaizen. Back with Itachi and Kaizen, the sushi man was just dealing with the clones who surprisingly, at least to him, weren't putting much resistance to the same Hada's swings, if not at all. However, Itachi knew better than their intention was only to provide distraction for the real one to leave unnoticed, so it wouldn't do well for them to risk being dispelled in accident and maybe prolong the time needed for Naruto to get away. Kaizen, you needn't worry about the Bunchins, they won't attack you. His plan worked. We lost him because we underestimated his abilities, but it won't happen anymore. Let's go, ordered Itachi, earning a snort from the shark man who strapped the sword on his back and followed Itachi. Do you think he was expecting us? Asked Kaizen as he was walking alongside the older Uchiha. Something is odd about this whole event. Normally, Uzumaki Naruto is rather narrow-minded, thus acting with recklessness. His choice of words was surprisingly accurate, and his face expression didn't change once. Something is different in him, I'm sure of it. Also, something only an Uchiha can know is that the blonde was looking at my feet at all times in the midst of our conversation, as if he was aware that without a contact, the Sharingan's abilities are seriously reduced. Perhaps, it would be best to not underestimate him in the future, Kaizen explained Itachi, earning a contemplative nod from his partner. It seems also that his chakra capacity has increased, otherwise he wouldn't be able to make such a high number of clones. He must have received some kind of training from that Sannin, wondered Kaizen. Itachi, though, was wondering about the whole ordeal. It was too calculated to be one of Naruto's tactics. For someone once very readable, you've become yet a new mystery, Uzumaki Naruto. Let's see if you manage to escape our clutches once more, thought Itachi. With Naruto. After 2 hours of travel, Naruto stopped for a while and looked backwards to see if either Itachi or Kaizen were following him. To his surprise, though, he felt neither chakra signature approaching nor anyone nearby to suggest a trap. Naruto wondered if his plan worked, but by the looks of it, it seemed Itachi and Kaizen didn't bother following him. Naruto wasn't stupid, though, and began to process the future from now on regarding Akatsuki. He knew his identity couldn't be revealed, at least not outside the village, and certainly, he would only show where both him and the fox attested the safety. Naruto concluded that he would try to continue Jiraiya's counterintelligence by creating a cage Bunshin to wander around in a complete different direction than he is heading. This way, the Akatsuki would follow the clone once more, while he, dressed as the hunter fox, would go around and do what he does best. Killing people. Can't the pervert do this for you? Although one cage Bunshin is not much, maintaining him for a couple of hours takes a lot of energy, advised Kyubi, but Naruto dismissed the idea the same instant. Sure, I could ask him to do it, but what good this will do to me in the long run? Will I ever be able to fully protect myself without him, snorted Naruto, earning a sigh in dismay from Kyubi. While you're hunting a ranked shinobi, those who wishes you dead are S-ranked, thus they are Jiraiya's level. I agree that depending on him is not a good thing in the long run, but at least with him, you could be better protected in case you faced them, explained Kyubi, as he saw Naruto rest his hands on his chin in a thinking position. I'll talk with him, see what he thinks of the idea. I can't just simply ask for him to do it without at least explaining myself. Upon our arrival, we'll talk to him, said Naruto, before he focused some chakra and jumped high above the trees, before landing on a next set of logs which would propel him to another. It didn't take too long until Naruto was right in front the great walls that surrounded the village. Normally, a huge sense of nostalgia would hit him like a train in full speed, but this time it was different. Maybe because truly he didn't want to come back, or maybe he felt that something would go wrong the minute he stepped inside the place he once called home. The spot he was in was secluded from any patrols that Konoha ninjas would make, so he could stare at the walls all day, without a single soul knowing he was there. However, signs of tiredness soon reached him and he needed to rest as soon as possible. Wondering about his tiny apartment, Naruto immediately jumped towards the wall, and within seconds, he was on top of the wall as he looked at the place he once called home. The village itself was dark as the night, but that wasn't surprising considering how late it was. He looked at the direction of his house and immediately jumped towards the next available rooftop. Even though Konoha was sound asleep at night, Anbu shinobi were responsible for guarding the village, so the chances of getting caught were high, even though his stealth improved greatly over the year. Jumping through rooftops, Naruto suddenly dashed to the ground and hid in a darkened corner before looking up to see three enemy members arriving at the very spot he would be in if he hadn't dropped to the ground. Konoha is tougher to break in than Suna. I'm close to my house now, thought Naruto as he saw the Anbis leave the place, before getting out of the darkened corner and using pure speed towards his home. He couldn't use chakra, seeing that the Anbu would be on high alert if he did so. After hiding once more, Naruto managed to reach his building and jump straight to his apartment. Looking at the door though, he wasn't surprised as sweet messages were written there by a kunai. Glad that you're dead, demon, and you are where you belong, read Naruto before chuckling a bit. In the past, he would squeeze his hands in fury and try to swallow the pain before putting a false smile. Now, however, Naruto found it amusing that the civilian population in Konoha thought he was dead, because he simply disappeared from view. And you think it's a good thing, why? Asked Kyubi from within the blonde's consciousness. Not good, just amusing to think that if I decided to appear to them, their face would be as white as a ghost, and probably believe I came from hell for revenge. However, as much as I appreciate a good prank, my presence here must remain a secret until I manage to settle some matters. However, I will, first, get some rest, said Naruto, before picking his key below the carpet in front of the door and opening his apartment. Upon entering, he saw the room was dark, but he didn't need to switch the lights on to see that someone took care of his apartment for him. There were sheets covering his furniture in order to prevent the dust from accumulating, and Naruto's nose could pick the smell of soap, meaning that whoever did this did a complete service. Walking around a bit, he found his bed and took off his clothes before getting to rest. He didn't have the luxury of sleeping for long, simply because of the fact that the one who cleaned his apartment could show up and see him inside, thus knowing he was back in Konoha. Kyubi, could you wake me up tomorrow at 8? I'll go find a new place to buy with the money from the hunternin business, and I have to leave the key where I found it, otherwise the person will know I'm here, said Naruto deep inside his mind, earning a grumbling nod from Kyubi. How can you be sure it's not your mate doing this? Asked Kyubi, before seeing Naruto thinking for a while. I don't think she would bother to do this unless she knew I was coming to Konoha. I have another hunch, and if I'm right, then letting her know I'm back would be such a troublesome situation to deal with, and quite frankly, I don't want any more complications than having to explain to each person that I know the actual truth behind me leaving the village. Do you think they know of my reputation? Asked Naruto, earning a snort from the fox. The name Hunter Fox was given by someone who was killed by you a few hours after he managed to escape from our clutches. I doubt he managed to spread the word about you, stated Kyubi, to which Naruto smiled and nodded. Yeah, well, I'll go to sleep, remember to wake me up. The next day. Waking up at the designated time, Naruto left his place immediately and left the key where it belonged. He was curious as to who would go inside his house and clean up, so he left a single cage Bunshin and told him to hide in a place where he could see his apartment's front door. The Bunshin immediately vanished, before the real Naruto started walking towards some place to have breakfast. Usually, Ikiraku's would be his choice number one, but the fact is that he couldn't be there, unless he wanted to drop out of the hunter-nin program. So, he settled for entering in a bakery store and asking for some bread and butter served with coffee and milk. Afterwards, Naruto walked throughout Konoha in order to find some place that sells newspapers. Naruto wanted to find a suitable new place for him to stay and maybe purchase another one and put it out to rent, thus having a second income. After walking for a while, Naruto found a few people he recognized, like Lee and Guy, doing their morning routine. No matter what horrors I see, those eyebrows scares the crap out of me, thought Naruto, earning an acknowledging nod from Kyubi, who also wondered why they have to be so damn big. A couple of shoyunin and jounin he came to know upon his stay in the village were conversing about some suton techniques, it seemed, and Naruto wondered about what Kyubi said about a third element to learn aside from Fuden and Katan. If he could choose, suton water certainly wouldn't be his choice. It wasn't for the fact that he didn't see it as deadly, or at least useful, it was just that its use was limited to having a nearby water supply in order to be used, and in Naruto's line of work and water couldn't be found so easy. Suton ninjutsu is only strong against Katan since it's dominant over fire, but that doesn't mean Doton techniques aren't useful against Katan ninjutsu. Not to mention that the one dominant over Suton techniques is Doton ninjutsu, advised Kyubi, earning a nod from Naruto, who thought about learning some Doton techniques, just in case neither his Fruiten nor Katan ninjutsu works. Walking around for a while, Naruto found the bookstore and purchased today's newspaper. Naruto had to admit he wasn't that much into reading at first, but when he managed to learn all those Fruiten techniques from the library, he began to see books in a new light. This was the first time he bought a newspaper, but the weird thing was that the vendor didn't snarl at him, called him demon. Oh yes, right. I'm wearing the hunternin mask. Of course, something was wrong with the man's attitude. Now let's see what we have here. Naruto flipped the newspaper and found a page reserved for ads. People wanted to sell their products to others, so they placed their offers at the newspaper simply because a great number of people would be able to see it. Naruto was searching for someone that happened to be selling some apartments, so that he could visit them. After looking for a while, he hit the jackpot. One ad showed that a businessman from Sea Country happened to leave the village and was in need of selling 3 apartments that he owed in Konoha. Looking at the address, Naruto immediately began walking towards the place, before he saw a woman using her hair like 2 buns and wearing some Chinese outfit. Naruto admitted he didn't know much about Neji and Lee's teammate Tenten. He knew she was a weapon specialist because of the mission to rescue Gaara from Akatsuki, but other than that, the woman was pretty much a stranger to the blonde. Shrugging it off as in not important, Naruto looked in front of him to see the building that the apartments were located. Seizing it up for a bit, Naruto appreciated its design and also the peaceful neighborhood. According to the ad, the man's offer was 350,000 Ryu for the 3 apartments. Naruto knew he had this much to spend, but at least he would try to lower the price to the amount of 100,000 Ryu each, totaling 300,000 Ryu. Upon arriving, Naruto knocked on the man's door, before the door opened, showing a rather tall figure, wearing a black suit and smoking a cigarette. "Can I help you with anything?" asked the man, to which Naruto nodded. "Sorry to bother you, sir, but I happened to see the ad you left in the newspaper, and I'm interested in making an offer for the 3 apartments," explained Naruto, earning a smile from the man. "Oh, why didn't you say so? Come in, I'll show you around. Call me Renji, please," said Renji before ushering Naruto inside. All 3 of them have 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a nice kitchen, and a living room to die for. Normally, I wouldn't be selling them, but due to some personal matters, I'm obliged to return to Sea Country. I see you were a mask, mister. Are you one of those anbis that I happened to see roaming through the village?" asked Renji, before seeing Naruto nodding in the negative. "No, my mask is different from those the anbis wear. I happen to be a hunter-nin." "Ever heard of said position?" asked Naruto, to which Renji nodded. "Sure, I had. You guys travel outside the village and hunt the respective villages missing nin, but I heard that is quite a lonely job. I mean, how do you cope with depending only with yourself? After a while doing it, you get accustomed to, I'm afraid." "Well, regarding the apartments, all of them have decent pluming and illumination, correct?" asked Naruto, before seeing the man nod his head, before continuing. "Great, I like this one. I can see you took good care of it," said Naruto, earning a smile from Renji. "So do we have a deal? I believe I stipulated in my ad the amount of 350,000 Ryu for all 3 of them. Do you accept?" asked Renji, before seeing Naruto looking at him. "I wish to close the deal with you, but I only have available with me 300,000 Ryu, and I'm ready to make a direct deposit to your bank account instead of trying to pay in parcels," offered Naruto, before he saw the man think for a while. It was a nice offer. He thought so himself. The market price for each of the apartment was slightly above what the masked one offered, and truth be told, the man would profit either way. "We have a deal then. I purchased these apartments for maybe 5 years ago, and I managed to get a good price on them at the time. I settled at 350,000 Ryu at first, because it happens to be a business tactic. The more you ask, the more you can reduce and still be able to profit. I'll give you my bank account and all the property documentation regarding these 3 apartments. Wait right here while I'll go and get them, said Renji, to which Naruto nodded, before he went to one of the rooms and grabbed the respective documentation. After he returned, he handed the document to Naruto, before giving his hand to Naruto as in wanting to close the deal by shaking heads. Naruto saw no harm done in all this, and shook the man's head. Great handshake, strong, powerful, it speaks highly of a man with these qualities. Here is the necessary documentation, and the number of my bank account. Unfortunately, my bank is in C country and tax law states that after the wire transfer is complete the one who received the income will have to pay a certain value, but don't worry, I've got credit with the bank for compensation purposes. Congratulations, you just purchased 3 nice apartments. Dada, how can I call you? I know you guys have a hidden identity, said Renji, to which Naruto nodded. Just call me Hunter Fox, that's the name I'm known for these days, said Naruto, earning a smile and a nod from Renji. Okay then, Hunter Fox, I'll have to go talk to Tsunade-sama and request some shinobi to protect me on my trip back to Sea Country. After all, security is a priority today, smiled Renji as he opened the door to Naruto, after he locked from the outside, before giving the 3 keys to the blonde. It was nice doing business with you, Hunter Fox. I hope you enjoy the apartments, see you, said Renji, before he turned and walked away. A few hours later, Naruto managed to get all the technicalities of the deal behind him as he made the wire transfer to Renji's account. Upon looking at the bank document that contained the amount of money he had right now, Naruto began to do some calculus. The B-ranked section of the bingo book rendered a lot of income to Naruto, and he was now considered a millionaire. The word was because he just purchased the apartments, so now he had 900,000 ryu in his bank account. The next priority would be stopping by the place where he acquired his katana from. He needed to reload his supplies for the future, so he would go shopping. Immediately arriving at the shop, he saw the man that sold his sword as he saw Naruto as well. Greetings, customer, how can I be of service today? Asked Akito, slightly suspicious of the sword strapped on this customer's back. Greetings, Akito-san, I'm back to have that repair on my sword, the Furizure, free spirit, said Naruto, waiting until realization struck the man. Well, Naruto-san, it's good to see you once more. I see you became a hunter-nin, that's great. Not many shinobi choose this line of profession, why don't you show her to me and we'll see what we can do to restore her, said Akito, earning a nod from Naruto, who took off the sword from his back and gave to Akito. After the man took the sword off its holster, he smiled and admired the level of care Naruto showed for the sword. In over a year, the metal presented some small signs of cracks, but nothing that someone of Akito's abilities couldn't fix. The sword has some fissures here and there, but I can fix it. It will take some time though. I'm out of metal right now, but it will be arriving tomorrow morning. You can pick them up in 2 days from now. Are you in need of anything else? Asked Akito, to which Naruto nodded and picked a little notebook from his jacket. I have a little list of things here, Akito-san, can you write it down? It's kind of an extensive list, said Naruto as Akito, smiling, grabbed a notebook of his own before Naruto began the list. 500 kuneis, 500 shurikens, 100 windmill shurikens, and 100 demon shurikens, 10 boxes of needles and a dozen storage scrolls. Also, I was hoping you had some exploding tags as well, if possible close to 50, said Naruto, before he heard Akito whistle in surprise at the amount of stuff. Not that I'm complaining or anything, Naruto-san, but it's a very extensive list you have here. Why do you want so much? Asked Akito. When you're out there alone, you create some vices that happen to be impossible to cure. For me to just buy ninja supplies outside Konoha makes me go edgy, and I expect a trap of some kind. By purchasing more in advance, I save both time and my neck in case of someone trapping me. Can you set all of what I asked for when I return to pick my sword? Asked Naruto, to which Akito smiled and nodded. I see what you mean. These vices, as you called it, can save your life in the future. Now, as to the products, I'll have them ready for you when you return. Now wait right here while I'll settle the total price, said Akito, earning a nod from Naruto, who began to walk around a bit, and once again admire the many weapons that were stored in Akito's store. The man had everything and more, and surprisingly enough all weapons, both projectile or not, were shining, which meant that Akito took great care of the items. A few minutes later, Akito returned with the price. "So Naruto, it will be 35,000 Ryu for everything. You can pay me when you come back next time. I'll have everything ready for when you return," explained Akito, but Naruto said no and insisted on paying the man right away. Akito appreciated the money and placed the order on his list for 2 days withdrawal before ushering Naruto goodbye. Naruto greeted the man goodbye and turned his back ready to leave before turning once more. "Akito-san, I'd like to ask a favor if I may," asked Naruto, before Akito nodded, and he continued. "Maybe this is another one of those vices, but until I come back, please do not mention to anyone that I'm in Konoha or that I'm a hunternin. I'm not talking about you, but rumors spread like crazy in this village and then my cover would be blown for sure. Could you do that for me?" asked Naruto. "Of course, my friend, you can count on me for that. You surely have your reasons, so I won't ask. Come back in 2 days, and I'll have everything settled for you," said Akito before Naruto smiled and nodded to the man. 2 days later. After picking up his order, Naruto stored everything in one of the storage scrolls, and left the store thanking Akito once again for everything. After that, he left towards the library where he would do some research concerning Doton manipulation. Naruto decided to give the ninjutsu a try, since it would come in handy against tougher opponents in the future. In minutes, he was already inside the place and searching for some books concerning the material. After looking for a while, Naruto managed to find them. Introduction to Doton Ninjutsu for those who don't have the necessary affinity. Low-level Doton techniques and mud manipulation. High-level Doton techniques. Naruto picked them from the shelves and went to one of the tables inside the library. Naruto's objective wasn't to leave the library already knowing everything there was to know about the subject. He would copy all the relevant information from the first book he picked and would choose 2 to 3 techniques from each one of the 2 last books in order to learn them. Naruto remembered the message he sent to Jiraiya, explaining that he was already inside Konoha, but wouldn't appear to anyone until he was ready to do so. Flashback on. Yesterday, after leaving his sword to be repaired, Naruto was standing on top of the Hokage monument, sharing the view that the past Hokages had of the village they sworn to protect. He knew he would have to inform the pervert that he was already inside Konoha, so he began to write a message to Jiraiya. "Hi there, pervert. I'm writing this to inform you that I'm already within Konoha's walls. The reason as to why I didn't show my face to any of you yet was that I needed to handle some personal matters first. If you feel the need to tell Bat-chan about this, feel free to do so. However, if you see a vein popping on her forehead, explain that I'll appear in no time, and for her not to worry about me. In case there is an emergency, you know how to reach me. See ya. Hunter Fox." After closing the scroll, Naruto summoned Gamakichi once more only to give the message to Jiraiya. Of course, the toad complained since he was on his vacation, but complied in the end. Flashback off. Immediately, Naruto used his pencil and began writing all the necessary information on another scroll. At the Hokage's office. Sitting behind the Hokage's mahogany desk, Tsunade was feeling the urge to tear the furniture into tiny little pieces. In front of her was Jiraiya with a serious expression on his face. "So what, Jiraiya, are you telling me that he is suspicious of his own home? Of us as well? Is that why he is doing this?" shouted Tsunade, but Jiraiya could only nod. "He developed some vices, I believe, while being a hunter-nin," Tsunade Heim. The message didn't say much about what he was up to, but you know as well as I do, that in time hunter-nins become suspicious of their own shadow for Christ's sake. Don't worry, though, he'll come see you when he's ready to do so. It's not like he left the village for no reason, you know. Also, if Akatsuki was to learn that he's here, then they'll come and everything he did to keep them away from this village would have been for nothing," explained Jiraiya, before seeing a sigh of dismay from Tsunade. "I'm afraid you're right, Jiraiya. Damn, imagining Naruto being paranoid is as hard as seeing Orochimaru suddenly having a conscious crisis. Did Gamakichi say anything about him? Asked Tsunade, but Jiraiya nodded in negative, explaining that the toad merely handed him the message and left, while grumbling about stupid blonde ruining his vacation, earning a smile from Tsunade. He'll come see us in no time, Tsunade. Be sure of it, said Jiraiya, earning a nod in confidence from Tsunade. With Naruto. Soon the night approached, and Naruto managed to finish everything he needed to learn about Doton manipulation. Of course, he knew that because Kyubi was telling him to write down what he thought was important to the blonde. The blonde even got to write down 5 techniques to learn regarding Doton manipulation. Doton Doryuki, Earth Release, Mud Wall Jutsu. Doton Doryuden, Earth Release, Mud Dragon Projectile Jutsu. Doton Ishisa, Earth Release, Stone Catapult Jutsu. Doton Saki no Yoroi, Earth Release, Earth Armor Jutsu. Doton Jishin, Earth Release, Earthquake Jutsu. After grabbing everything he needed, he placed the books on the respective shelves once more and left the library towards his new apartment to sleep. Tomorrow, he would show up at the Hokage's office. Chapter 12, Hidden Intentions. It was yet another beautiful day in Konoha as the first rays of sunlight illuminated the village. Being located in fire country, Konoha was used to hot temperatures in the summer and normal temperatures in winter. Now in the village there were those who appreciated waking up early for the sake of enjoying a full day, and of course those who hated because they wanted to enjoy that extra 5 minutes to sleep, which actually becomes at least an hour and a half. However, for one person, having time to sleep meant lowering his defense, and doing such would result in death, hence why Naruto was already up when the sunlight adjourned his features. Actually, Naruto was found on top of the Hokage's monument, like he remembered doing the same thing a long time ago. It seemed strange, but the only view he missed from the village he once called home was the one from the top of the Yondime's face. No matter what happened, his life, just sitting on top of the Yondime calmed him down like no place would. Naruto was so hypnotized by said view of the village that he forgot to pay attention to the one living within him who understood why Naruto's feeling of nostalgia manifested in the first place. The fox wouldn't speak to his jailer about it anytime soon, since, to tell the truth, he didn't feel like it. Let the other monkeys do this when they as hell see reason in telling for the fox's sake. Back to Naruto, he got up and got to see his old house in the horizon, before remembering that it was Sakura who cleaned up every now and then. The memories assaulted him as he got take a look at his ex-teammate. She had grown, that's for sure. Her hair was a little bit longer, and Naruto was surprised she was wearing a standard jounin attire. Hana once told him that most of his classmates became jounin nowadays, and he was the only genin left. Not that it mattered though, as in the end it was all up to who would be holding the kunai straight through the other's heart. One of the things that occurred during his time outside the village was that Naruto would explain his reasons by using analogies related to killing the other. Looking around the village once more, Naruto recognized the Inuzuka compound, and he couldn't help but smile upon thinking of Hana once more. Picking up a scroll, Naruto decided to alert Hana beforehand, not wanting the bloodhounds recognizing either his or Kyubi's scent a mile away. If Naruto was to visit Hana and maybe her mother, he would need to tell her firsthand. After finishing the scroll, Naruto summoned Gamakichi, who in turn appeared with his belly up like he was resting in a swimming pool, thus falling on his back. "Oi Naruto, why the hell you summoned me now? I'm on my vacation," shouted Gamakichi, but Naruto didn't even flinch as he was with his arms crossed. "My apologies Gamakichi, and sorry to wake you from your vacation. It's just one more thing. I need you to deliver this scroll to Hana, and then I promise that I won't bother you for the whole month," said Naruto, earning a snort from the toad, who nodded and vanished instantly, before appearing at Hana's room, surprising the girl quite a bit. "Oi Hana, Naruto sent you a message. He doesn't expect reply, just this message," said Gamakichi before leaving the plane of existence and returning to his oil pool. Hana, for her part, was surprised to receive a message from her lover. Not because she wasn't happy to, but the fact that she was about to do it from missing him since last time they met. Taking the scroll, she opened and began reading. "Hana-chan, how have you been, my love? I have some great news to you. Seeing as I managed to end the B-ranked list of the bingo book, I accepted the Hokage's vacation offer, and guess where I am now? Yes, you're right. I'm back in the village and I want to visit you and maybe get to meet your mother if possible. Now, the problem is that my scent would be sensed a mile away from either one of your family. Hence why I thought best by inform you of my arrival at your house in approximately an hour from now. I can't wait to see you. Love, Naruto. Hana didn't wait to close the scroll until she opened a big smile. Her boyfriend was finally home. Kiba was away in a mission with his old genin team, so he wouldn't be a problem. The girl went downstairs and saw her mother having some breakfast with her dog as well as Hana's triplets. Wow, there Hana-chan, I see you slept well. I bet you dreamed of Naruto once more, haven't you? Smiled Tsum before seeing her daughter blushing like crazy before laughing her ass off. Kaya-san, he's here. I just received a message saying that he wanted to visit here in an hour, said Hana, to which Tsum displayed her surprised look at the news. Naruto has been a popular subject in her house ever since Hana began dating him, and, even if Kiba wasn't familiar with his sister's relationship, often talked highly of the blonde. Kiba at some point displayed his disliking to this mission Naruto was on with the San Andrea, since because of it, Naruto wasn't able to progress in rank while everyone was promoted to Jounin already. Tsum smiled at the thought, thinking about the effect of ranks for a hunter nin. She thought that since Naruto was cleaning the B-ranked missing nin section, he got to face Jounin in battle and won, hence why he was the only genin on par with a Jounin. So, it's today that I'll finally meet the man of your dreams, Hana-chan. I admit that hearing you speak about him so much spiked my curiosity a bit. Do you think he'll stay for real this time, or just plain vacation? Asked Tsum. Sadly, just for vacation purposes, but that's better than him becoming a man whose only ability is to kill. He still has the ranked missing nin to deal with, but I hope that he sees reason and revoke his hunter nin status. I can't help but worry for him now that he will be facing enemies close to a Sanin's level of power. I know that he is indeed strong, but still, said Hana as she looked down at the thought of losing Naruto. Tsum very well knew that look since she shared that fate with her husband, but it wouldn't do Hana good if she remembered of Hana's deceased father dying on a mission. She needed to better Hana's mood. So, she just played the part of the mother and only smiled to her daughter before explaining that if Naruto managed to overcome B-level shinobis with ease, then he could very well cope against a ranked missing nins. Also, my lovely daughter, if Naruto comes here and see this worried face, he'll be worried in return. You don't want that, do you? Asked Tsum before seeing Hana smile all of a sudden, thus earning a smile in return from the elder woman. You're right, Mom, and besides, Tsunade-sama is going to try as well to convince him to stay, so the odds are in our favor. Naruto is still a ninja, and therefore subjected to the Hokage's orders, explained Hana, before reaching the fridge for some breakfast, before hearing some light giggling from her mother. Tsum realized that Naruto would have people getting on his very nerve while trying to convince him not to return to being a hunter nin. And if she knew her daughter like he did, then Hana would stick to convincing him until he left once more. The fact was that Tsum wouldn't stop her daughter from doing so. Even if the elder Inuzuka understood and respected Naruto's decisions to leave the village, he couldn't deny that not only he will be facing elite enemies, but also escape Akatsuki's grasp at the same time. With Naruto . After sending Gamakichi to deliver the message, Naruto vanished from the Hokage mountain back to a place where he knew he would find him. It was amusing, at least for Naruto, to know that no matter which country or city this guy was in, there would be one place that he could possibly be. The public onsen. Actually, Naruto didn't even know that Jiraiya was in Konoha, but the fact was that if he was, then definitely the place to look for him would be the public onsen. In 5 minutes, Naruto reached the bushes near such a place, before he began to look for him. It didn't take 1 minute of searching before Naruto heard that distinguished sound that could only have left from his mouth. He giggled, the casual observer known as Jiraiya of the Sannin, not even aware that Naruto was already behind him. Seriously, not even Orochimaru here in person would take his attention away from peeping at the girls. You should have learned said trait from him, brat. Imagine all those ladies. He giggled Kyubi inside his head as pictures immediately appeared of Enko, Kira, Kurenai and Hana. Upon seeing them, Naruto couldn't help but snort at having perverts for companionship. Actually, Naruto really enjoyed them, especially the last picture of Hana naked in bed. But that's not the case right now. "Excuse me, Jiraiya-sama," asked Naruto, being polite so that Jiraiya wouldn't know it was him for a future prank. The pervert waved his hands, telling the strange man to go away and stop bothering him. Naruto smiled and this time poked the Sannin on his shoulders, receiving once again, the hand waving Naruto off. Naruto, then, poked again, this time on his head. Eventually, the pervert was fed up with this imbecile and turned his head, snarling. However, when he was about to scream at the man for being a nuisance, he saw Naruto's attire and frightening mask, before jumping scared. The bad part of this was that he was only a few feet away from the female part of the onsen, thus falling right inside and causing quite the commotion. All that Naruto could hear was the man screaming for help and the ladies shouting war screams towards Jiraiya. After almost getting killed, Jiraiya managed to escape, of course with women in tow, but one of them, actually the only kunoichi, stayed at the onsen, since the one who was peeping actually left as long with everyone on the onsen. Kurenai was just enjoying the few peaceful moments a mother kunoichi could have. Little Asuma was a handful, and even though the Hokage suspended her ninja license until Asuma's second birthday, it was almost impossible to calm the little infant enough to warrant her some sleeping. However, her kunoichi senses didn't fade, and she could very well sense a strong chakra within the area. Quickly, she went back to the restroom and placed her normal clothes before going to investigate the surroundings. This chakra was familiar, but she couldn't just grasp as to whom it belonged to, until she saw him standing on top of a 20-foot tree, supposedly waiting for something or someone to show up. Instantly, memories flooded her mind as to a confrontation she had with him prior to him becoming what he is now, and the horrible accusations she made. Kurenai did everything against what she was trained for. It was common knowledge that the job of a ninja is risky, and that death is a part of it. No matter the circumstances, the ninja must always be prepared to deal with the situation accordingly. Of course, there was always the fact that ninjas are humans and that humans can't handle the emotional strain of losing someone you love and get to think rationally in response. Asuma's death at the hands of Akatsuki shocked and angered Kurenai simply because of the existence of the tailed demons. Said organization's objective was to capture the 9-tailed beasts at all costs, and in the end, Kurenai ended up blaming her lover's death on a person that houses the very being the organization is after. One is Maki Naruto. Naruto never asked to house a demon such as the Kyuubi, and Kurenai knew that. The fact was that she was short on finding a scapegoat to blame for what happened to her, and Naruto wore the glove. And even after blaming everything on him, Naruto just confirmed everything and accepted the guilt, saying that he was to be held responsible for the Kyuubi inside of him and that if she wanted, she could kill him in order to avenge her beloved. She did regret thinking like that one day before he left, when he was picking this black outfit, and even when Hana couldn't stop talking about him, Kurenai couldn't feel guiltier for doing what she did, for blaming Naruto for what happened. She wanted then to apologize to the blonde once more, even if Naruto himself said she didn't have to. As Kurenai approached the tree Naruto was standing, she just looked up, and was surprised to see that Naruto was already looking at her. "Hello there, Kurenai-san," said Naruto as he dropped to the ground in order to meet the kunoichi face to face. The mask sure was frightening, Kurenai thought. And while unaware of his reputation as the Hunter Fox, she had heard some rumors related to a new hunternin that is diminishing the bingo book greatly. Also, now that Naruto was right in front of her, the difference was plainly visible. His muscles were more refined, even though she couldn't see much from the leather jacket, and regarding his height, Kurenai assumed him to be close to 6 feet tall. "Naruto, how long have you been in Konoha?" asked Kurenai, not really wanting to remember old discussions. "I just arrived. I asked for a little vacation, and Tsunade-sama granted me 2 weeks. I heard little Asuma was born. How is he?" asked Naruto, earning a smile from Kurenai, who in turn remembered about the little typhoon breaking everything. "A handful, but he looks like his father so much that is kind of scary. He can be a bit destructive at times, so I decided to rest a little bit, and hired a genin team to take care of him just for today. So, I understand that you and Hana are seeing each other?" asked Kurenai, earning a suspicious look at the possibility of his girlfriend opening her mouth to the entire village about it. Sensing his preoccupation, Kurenai waved it off, explaining that Hana is one of her best friends and confidant and that few people know about the hidden relationship. I'm actually scheduled to make a visit at her house in half an hour, said Naruto, earning a nod from Kurenai before silence reigned the conversation. That discussion created an awkward silence between Kurenai and Naruto. Kurenai not wanting to talk about it, and Naruto don't seeing relevance in bringing something like that on a normal conversation. His opinion didn't change though in all this time. Asuma's death at the hands of those who were after him was uncontroversial to the blonde, and saying that it wasn't his fault, it would be a lie. Kurenai, for instance, wanted to say that she was sorry for what she said to the hunternin that time, and she gathered courage in her brain to do so. However, when her brain would give the order for the mouth to open and speak, said order was overruled and thoughts of worry filled her head. How pathetic. I'm a jounin for Christ's sake, and I can take care of a son that is better described as a maniac back at my house. Why can't I talk to him? What needs to be said? Okay, I'll talk. I've been training what to say ever since he left. Naruto, I wanted to apologize for what happened between us, said Kurenai, earning a surprised look from Naruto, even though because of the mask, no one could see. For what reason, Kurenai-san, you're apologizing? What happened with Asuma was my fault entirely. It showed me that the longer I stay in Konoha, the more chances are for another one to die because of who I am, explained Naruto. But Kurenai negated with her head, seeing how stubborn the blonde was to settle this once and for all. This wasn't healthy for him. Hear me out, okay? I want to explain, said Kurenai, until Naruto nodded, before she continued. I'll admit that when it happened, my entire life shattered in million pieces. I didn't know what to do. I mean, Asuma-kun was the man I loved. Needless to say, every ninja training I had thus far was swallowed by the pain in my heart. I wanted revenge more than anything. I wanted Akatsuki to pay for what they did to my husband. In the end, I blamed you since you are who they want. I was wrong though to do that to you, Naruto. How could I blame you when you never asked to be in this situation? You faced so much hate and anger from everyone, and you didn't need another one throwing you hated glances. I just wanted you to know that what happened to my Asuma was because of Akatsuki and them alone, explained Kurenai before closing her eyes in effort, so as not to shed a tear for her beloved Asuma. Naruto kept watching the woman in front of him, opening her heart for him, and found some level of wisdom in her words. However, he knew that deep down inside, nothing would have happened if he never existed in the first place. Perhaps, the Yondan wouldn't be able to stop the Kyuubi and the village would be decimated, but Naruto very well knew the pain of being alone in life, not having someone to depend on, instead, only relying on yourself for survival. In a sense of the word, Naruto never changed. Being out there as a hunter nin meant taking care of yourself, while at the same time, dealing with missing nins. Nevertheless, with all Naruto's experience in dealing with the past, something are better off forgotten. Kurenai-san, what happened between us is in the past right now, and it should remain in the past. Sometimes, it's best to forget the minor conflicts for what's really worth our time. You have little Asuma and Hana to look forward to, and I as well have those who I care deeply for. Now though, I'm afraid that the pervert won't return, so I'll go to Hana's, said Naruto before he turned and began walking towards Hana's house, before he heard Kurenai call to him before walking right next to him. Those were wise words, Kurenai thought. As she looked at Naruto's mask, she couldn't help but see a much respectful figure than a 17-year-old guy who didn't pass the rank of genin should be. Kurenai knew most of Naruto's peers from the academy, and while some of them like Chino and Shikamaru displayed a certain level of maturity, Naruto probably became the most mature of them all. Despite facing such a dangerous and lonely profession, it appeared that it transformed Naruto into a stronger being, someone not afraid of stepping up to himself, even if against the strongest adversaries. Kurenai-san, why are you following me? Asked Naruto, not at all bothered by the company, but rather curious to the woman's intentions. I happen to appreciate a little visit to Hana-chan, and since you're going there, I might as well go with you unless you don't feel comfortable around me, then I can leave, said Kurenai with a normal smile on her face while Naruto was looking at her. I was just curious, that's all. Besides, better in company with you than with someone wanting to kill me, joked Naruto, earning a contained laughter from Kurenai, who in turn understood what Naruto meant. So, tell me, what's like being alone out there facing missing nins? Weren't you lonely? Asked Kurenai, to which Naruto negated with his head. After a while, you get used to depending on your own. As to the whole part of facing missing nins, there isn't much to say. You fight and kill most of the time, and be aware for one of them sneaking on you when your guard is down. The problem, though, is learning how to cope with the difference between doing a job and being a murderer. I actually requested the vacation from fear of becoming something I know I'd regret for my entire life, said Naruto as he lost the focus in his eyes and pictured every killing he ever did as a hunternin. I could only half understand what you're saying because of some kills of my own, but getting gratification for those I managed to save in the end managed loosen my heart. You, on the other hand, does not receive any gratification. I wonder if I could ever take up what you take and come out unscathed, stated Kurenai, earning a nod from Naruto, who was still remembering every damn kill he ever did until one person came to mind: Misao, the only missing nin that didn't lose his or her life because of Naruto. In the end, the hunter nin let her go and sent information to Konoha that she was killed by a mob of bandits. Misao was the only proof that Naruto was not the cold-hearted assassin. Seeing that Naruto didn't say anything, she gave him some space. One aspect that Kurenai managed to feel from Naruto's expression was someone who felt every drop of blood that he took away. Naruto, I can very well see how you're feeling right now. You can't do this your entire life, it will consume you, said Kurenai, and the truth was that Naruto knew that. It's not a matter of choice, Kurenai-san. If I chose to stay, then Akatsuki would barge through Konoha's walls and kill everyone here if it means they'll get me in the end, said Naruto before silence once more reigned the conversation. Kurenai didn't like to hear such words coming from Naruto, even though the kunoichi side of her found wisdom in them. She knew that Naruto was suffering from doing this, so maybe she could do something to convince Naruto to stay. She would have to talk to Hana in order to arrange something. With Jiraiya . Hiding in a hidden alley, Jiraiya managed to escape the barrage of women after him. He couldn't help but curse the brat for what he had done. Nevertheless, now that he appeared, Jiraiya was certain that sooner or later he would appear at the Hokage's office, which meant that he was supposed to be there as well. Jiraiya was worried about the blonde since Akatsuki stopped following his false leads to Naruto's position and would be now hunting him down themselves. He even found an alternative plan to fool Akatsuki by appearing as Naruto somewhere and as the hunter nin in another place, thus confusing their track. Of course, that was just a temporary plan since Akatsuki is composed by S-ranked missing nins and there isn't so much you could keep from them before they retaliated. The pervert just wished he could reason with Naruto about aborting the hunter nin program for the meantime, in order for them to prepare a more suitable counterintelligence plan. However, he knew it wouldn't be easy to convince Naruto to stay and become a regular ninja. At the Inuzuka compound. It took a little while for Naruto and Kurenai to reach the Inuzuka compound, and they were in front of the door before Naruto knocked the door, only to be tackled on the ground by the very same dog he petted during his dates with Hana. The husky was so happy to find Naruto once more that she was already at the door the moment she sensed his smell. Hana was already at his side, sharing the husky's enthusiasm. It's good to see you once more, Naruto-kun. I missed you, said Hana while smiling at seeing Naruto play with the husky. I missed you as well, Hana-chan, and you little girl, how have you been? Stated Naruto as he played with the husky's ear a little bit, receiving a bark in response to the appraisal. Come on inside, Naruto-kun, there you can take off your mask and also you could meet my mother, invited Hana, before Naruto nodded and got up from the ground before walking next to his girlfriend and pet inside the house. After coming inside, Naruto began to scout the compound a little bit and offer nice comments to Hana for the nice house. However, he didn't manage to walk far before he was tackled on the ground once more, but this time was the pups he retrieved close to a year before. Normally, Naruto wouldn't worry much about it, but seeing the size of the dogs now, their tackles were more of a hit than anything else. Hana and Kurenai laughed as Naruto was actually adored by the inuzuka dogs, while Hana invited both Naruto and Kurenai for a cup of tea, to which they accepted, but not before the twins let him leave the ground once more. Naruto was about to do something when he heard a strange voice talking to him. "Play with their ears and they'll stop," said Tsume, until she saw Naruto nodding and using his hands to grab their ears and began the nice massage, before seeing the pups suddenly sit and show signs of appreciating the gesture. With that, Naruto managed to get up while he continued to pet the pups until Tsume appeared next to him. "I can see why my daughter likes you, Naruto-kun. You clearly have a way with animals. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Hana's mother," Tsume said as she extended her hand for Naruto to get up before they shook hands. "The pleasure is all mine, Inuzuka-sama. Hana-chan told me a lot about you and it's an honor to meet you," said Naruto as formal as possible. But little did he know that the Inuzuka matriarch didn't care at all about formalities. "You don't need to be all formal with me, Naruto, but I request that you take off your mask once inside my house." "I want to meet Hana's boyfriend," smiled Tsume, earning a nod from Naruto as he unstrapped the mask lock and took it off, thus showing his golden locks and dark blue eyes. Upon looking, Tsume had the decency to gasp at the amazing similarity that Naruto shared with the late Yondaime Hokage. She actually heard from Hana that Naruto was the exact copy of Namikaze Minato, but Hana never told that Naruto was Minato reincarnated. "Is there something wrong, Inuzuka-sama?" asked Naruto, not sure of what was going on, thus waking Tsume from her wonderings before smiling. "It's nothing, Naruto, and please do not call me Sama, it makes me look old. Just Inuzuka-san will do. Now, I believe my daughter is making us some tea, so how about we join them?" invited Tsume, to which Naruto nodded and went ahead while Tsume was studying her daughter's boyfriend. Actually, she was checking him out from head to toe, not with second intentions, but rather to see more similarities between Naruto and Minato. Naruto was definitely taller and stronger build than Minato, plus the face was identical. If Tsume didn't know better, she would think that they were related or something among those lines. As mother and perhaps son-in-law appeared at the kitchen, they saw both Hana and Kurenai discussing about something in particular. However, upon seeing Naruto, they had different reactions. Hana, of course, was already used to his gorgeous face, but she stopped what she was talking from fear of Naruto discovering their intentions. Kurenai, though, had the decency to blush. She had already seen his face before he left to become a hunter-nin, but now that he grew up once more, she couldn't help but stare dumbfounded. Naruto's blue eyes and golden locks were already breathtaking, but now his face was more angular, and thus his features were now more pronounced. Kurenai was glad, though, that no one was looking at her, because she would be in big trouble for checking her friend's boyfriend out. Immediately, Tsume and Naruto joined the two girls at the table before the husky appeared once more next to Naruto, and just used his feet for a nice and comfy pillow, earning a smile from Naruto before he turned his head to hear Tsume speaking. "So tell us, Naruto, something about you," asked Tsume, wanting to know something about her daughter's boyfriend. Naruto, for his part, found this to be a bit awkward since he didn't know Tsume's thoughts on him. He didn't know if the Kyuubi did something to her side of the family. "Well, there isn't much to say really, Inuzuka-san. I don't see anything relevant in my life that is different than any other orphan shinobi. I have few personal vices concerning one special type of food, and I don't have a hobby per se. During my trips, I found some interest in swimming in lakes and rivers. It somehow relaxes me to just be on water and look to the sky. My life as hunter-nin is very demanding, and sometimes doing nothing makes up for the heavy strain I set my body either training or fighting missing nins," explained Naruto, earning an interesting nod from Tsume, who actually considered Naruto's hobby original. According to Tsume, what differs people's personalities are the activities they choose for relaxation, and she never heard someone saying that they like swimming. "It's very interesting, indeed. I know some aspects of a hunter-nin's job, but I can't grasp the entire thing. Some inuzukas were hunter-nin because of our tracking skills. I also noticed that you happen to enjoy being around our dogs." Naruto smiled Tsume as she saw Hana's husky sleeping next to Naruto, also remembering the pups jumping on him. Naruto, for his turn, smiled at his mother-in-law and looked at the husky using his feet as a pillow. "I can't answer that really. Before Akamaru and Hana-chan's huskies, I never had interaction with them. It seems, though, that they like staying around me. I'm curious, though, about their ability to speak our language. Neither Kiba's dog Akamaru nor Hana's triplets can talk, asked Naruto, earning a smile from Tsume at the display of interest in knowing about the family, before she explained. It takes a while for a pup to learn the human language. The only one so far to reach it was Kudamaru, and he's been with me since I was 6 years old. Actually, there is no certain amount of time needed for a pup to learn how to speak. For instance, Kudamaru learned when I became a jounin, which was 20 years ago. Hana's triplets are closer than Akamaru to learn how to speak, said Tsume, earning a nod from Naruto, who then used his hand and scratched the husky's ear before seeing the animal get up from the floor and tackle Naruto to the ground once more before licking him on the face. Hana smiled at her boyfriend and looked at her mother to see that she was smiling as well. To Hana, it meant the world that her mother approved Naruto, and her smile very well indicated that. She would just have to speak with her regarding what she's spoken with Kurenai earlier. As the time passed, Tsume asked some aspects of Naruto's work, which included evasion methods that missing nin does to avoid being found, methods used for tracking purposes, during which Tsume was impressed upon knowing that Naruto is able to summon toads just like Minato and Jiraiya, and then from knowing that they could natural energy to feel the enemy's chakra from afar. Along the discussion, Tsume couldn't help but be amazed at Naruto's mastery of the subject of hunting. The explanation was spoken with advanced vocabulary, and even advanced terms regarding some of the ninja arts, to which Tsume confessed not knowing much about, like pressure points, and how to better disable the opponent by hitting specific points of the human body. Naruto also explained to the elder woman some anatomy lessons where a shinobi could learn how to send the opponent into a near-death state by hitting senbon needles at a specific point of the neck. You sure did your research, Naruto. Where did you learn all this anyway? No offense, but I remember my son saying you wasn't that bright at the academy, asked Tsume, to which Naruto nodded with his head. Whereas I cannot be considered a genius by any means, nor do I want to be called like that. Indeed, takes longer for me to learn something than others. However, whereas time is needed for someone to learn ninjutsu, for instance, I can use time at my disposal, thus severely reducing the actual period needed for me to learn something, explained Naruto. But for those present it didn't make much sense, so Naruto offered himself to explain once more. By using the Kage Bunshin, I can reduce the time needed to learn something, since in the end, it will be 2 heads instead of 1. The clone memories will simply transfer to my own, making it look like I took half the time needed if I were to do it alone, explained Naruto, this time earning a smile from Tsume and the rest, until Kurenai decided to ask a question. How many can you do nowadays? I remembered hearing about your high chakra reserves, but that was a long time ago, asked Kurenai, earning Naruto's attention as he turned to face the crimson-eyed woman. I stopped counting actually. Actually, when training, I simply make a certain number of clones in order to assemble them in different groups. For instance, if I were to master a certain element plus get some training in another element, I can just create 20 Kage Bunshins and set each 10 for each element, and I can even practice some physical exercises on my own, which in reality, I would be training for both elements as well in the end, explained Naruto, before seeing those in the table open their eyes in utter realization at Naruto's explanation. They continued the conversation for a few more minutes before the group separated. Actually, Naruto wanted to wander around the compound for a second while the women got to chat, and the subject was entirely about the blonde enigma. Back to Naruto, he was at the window that leads to the main garden where he could very well see the extensive property owned by the inuzukas. The main garden could be better described as an open field with gigantic pathways and wild vegetation. Also, Naruto got to see many dogs wandering around, sniffing the flowers, playing around, swimming at the lake in the middle of the property, among other things. Never was much fan of dogs myself. They smell bad and are a constant pain in the ass, snorted Kyubi inside Naruto's mind, alerting the blonde to his presence. And you telling me that you liked other animals besides foxes? It's kind of difficult imagining you being fan of any type of animal aside from your kind, thought Naruto, before hearing another from the fox. Even though we are the same family, sort of, saying together with the wolves, dogs are not considered animals, instead being known for being a man's best companion. A dog is raised in captivity, while the rest of us have to hunt to be able to eat. Their path is laid before them in a silver platter, said Kyubi before hearing Naruto laughing for a while. Changing the subject, I already got to read some of the material regarding Doton Ninjutsu. I should finish reading the rest of it tonight, and then we can begin to practice the element, thought Naruto. You still have 10 more days to rest. I suggest you stop using your chakra for at least 5 more days. Learn the theory first and if possible memorize the hand seals for the techniques. In 5 days, your chakra will be less strained for the activities, thus more relaxed. Meanwhile, there are a lot of nice activities to do and happily, all they includes the women you've met so far, said Kyubi, before showing hot images in Naruto's head until one of them appeared that made Naruto choke. Kyubi, that's Tsume naked. She is Hana-chan's mother, for Christ's sake. I knew that you're a pervert, but to even suggest of having sex with my girlfriend's mother, that's beyond sick, thought Naruto, before hearing Kyubi laughing once more, enjoying himself to share Naruto's life experiences. The boy was simply very entertaining to see. Hey, ever heard of the saying like mother like daughter? He said Kyubi as he placed another picture inside Naruto's mind, this time placing the two side by side in comparison. While Kyubi was taunting Naruto in regards to his mother-in-law naked, the women were discussing some evil plan that Hana suggested. At night . Later Naruto had some dinner at the Inuzuka household, and then went to his new home to take a long bath, and then go visit one last person for the day. Naruto wondered about the 5 days he had to just do nothing, and for someone who was on active duty non-stop for a whole year, doing nothing seems more pleasurable than doing something you like to do. Also, Naruto had his scrolls in Doton Ninjutsu, so he would study his scroll for the duration of his vacation, and hoped to learn at least the necessary theory in order to begin earth manipulation. Just as he entered one of the apartments he chose to live in, Naruto took off his mask and clothes, before entering the shower. As he let the running water clean his body, Naruto began to wonder about Hana's family. Kiba, he already knew as being annoying, but soon surprised him. The elder woman had a bit of both Kiba and Hana, and that what was astonishing. As every Inuzuka, she could be wild and fierce, but like his precious Hana, she could as well be gentle and kind. One of the things Naruto first noticed was that Tsume didn't hate him because of the Kyubi. It was hard nowadays to see someone that doesn't resent the fox, and Naruto found himself hard to believe that the Inuzuka matriarch would be so lenient over who killed either her husband, friend, aunt, father, mother, among others. Also, if Naruto interpreted correctly, she was testing him to see if he was the right one for her daughter from the many questions, and the constant checkups she did with both the eyes and the nose. Tsume was unaware, but being a hunternin, Naruto could sense when he was being watched from a mile away, since in some level the watcher's chakra always flares no matter his or her intention. As to Hana, Naruto couldn't help but smile upon seeing her smile. Naruto could tell Hana wanted her mother's approval, and from the conversations they spent together, Naruto knew how much Tsume's opinion mattered to the girl. The blonde wondered about Tsume's thoughts on him though. Actually, it was kind of strange to be thinking about the almost mother-in-law in said light. Naruto believed that Hana meant so much to him that if she needed her mother's approval, then Naruto would work hard to earn Tsume's approval. Look at yourself, saying such things. You've been together for less than a year, and you already falling for her madly. What's next? Snorted Kyubi, but Naruto could only smile as the words kicked in. Of course, Naruto wasn't thinking of proposing, not yet anyway. He just found out that the more he knew Hana, the more he would realize that he enjoyed being with her. As he left the shower, he put his clothes on and left the apartment straight for the Hokage's office. At the Hokage's office . Tsunade was looking from her window after a long and stressful day of work. She wanted to have some sake, but Shizune managed to hide it well this time, so she settled for a cup of tea. One subject plagued her mind, though, and it was Naruto. Knowing that he was within the village walls somewhat eased her mind, but the fact that's been almost 4 days and not once did he appear to see her. It was unnerving to know how much Naruto changed, and it was even more unnerving to realize that Naruto no longer saw Tsunade in the same light. Just as she was about to turn and leave her office, though, she heard a voice that she longed for. "Hello Bat-chan, it's been a while." asked Naruto, with the hunter-nin mask on his hand, and using the other one to greet the blonde Hokage. The response he got was weird, since Tsunade just stood there unmoving for a while. Suddenly, though, she moved faster than Naruto could predict and enveloped him in a tight hug, or at least tried to anyway. Naruto had grown so much that Tsunade couldn't reach him entirely. After she broke free from the hug, she just grabbed his collar and began shaking the hunter-nin. "What took you so long to get here, brat? I was beginning to believe that you didn't miss me," snarled Tsunade. But Naruto couldn't answer from the incessant shaking. Only after she stopped that he recollected himself and spoke. "Sorry about not visiting you right away, it's just that I've been on the run so much hunting and being hunted that I thought about controlling information. The only ones who knew I'm in Konoha are you, the pervert, Kurenai-san, Hana-chan, and Sum-san. Also, I had a little run with Itachi and Kaizam near the village, so if words got out that I was in Konoha, then they'll come and get me," explained Naruto before hearing Tsunade snort, and then hug him once more. "I'm glad that you're okay, though. How did you escape the Akatsuki?" asked Tsunade, to which Naruto placed his mask on the table, and then explained. "They underestimated me, so I used a cage bunshin diversion to escape. It was good that I didn't meet them as a hunter-nin, or else they would be looking for me, instead of just looking for Uzumaki Naruto. So, by the looks of it, Konoha didn't change much?" asked Naruto, to which Tsunade smiled, but negated said information. "Of course, it looks the same, but what changed were your academy peers. All of them became jounin now. Hinata was the last one and she managed to attain the rank. You now are the only one who's still a genin," taunted Tsunade. But surprisingly, Naruto didn't open his mouth, instead, only smiled at Tsunade's attempt. "Yes, I'm also the only genin in all the elemental nations who was able to take on the entire C and B ranked section of the bingo book, and also able to escape from S-ranked criminals such as the Akatsuki all this time. I guess ranks don't mean much for me nowadays. Well, what else changed around here? What about the Uchiha, any news about him?" asked Naruto, before seeing Tsunade's serious face. "No word on him whatsoever, and that's what concerns me. Ever since that mission you took with Sakura and Yamato, no word was brought to me regarding the Uchiha. I fear that Orochimaru is just counting the seconds left to take his body. The problem is that we cannot find information about it. Did you hear anything?" asked Tsunade, to which Naruto negated with his head, saying that he didn't focus much on a ranked missing nins, but rather the C and B ranked. "When I return out there, Sasuke will be on my list, and then I'll look after him. It seems Kabuto is an A ranked as well, but Orochimaru will be a problem, though," said Naruto as he rested his chin on top of his hand in deep thought. "Well, we'll worry about that later. The good thing is that you're back safe and sound. So, what you plan to do for vacation?" asked Tsunade, earning a nod from Naruto. "Well, Furball believes that doing anything besides training is preferable. I don't know, something about easing the flow of chakra. So, I chose to just relax at home and spend some time at the Hokage mountain. Anywhere where people can't see me, you know how it works," said Naruto, earning a nod from Tsunade, who, even though didn't agree with Naruto, found that she was happy he was here and not out there. "Okay, brat. You were late and I can't stand being inside this office any longer. Enjoy your vacation, and we'll talk once more when the 2 weeks are over," said Tsunade, to which Naruto nodded, and left the place before Tsunade locking the office. The next day. After getting some good sleep, because of seeing her little brother, Tsunade appeared at her office once more. She thought that nothing could ruin the day, even with the huge piles of work threatening to fall and make a huge mess. Suddenly, though, just as she sit on her desk, 3 people entered, and somehow Tsunade imagined it has something to do with Naruto. Sum, Hana, and Kurenai stood before her, and Tsunade very well knew she didn't call these 3 for a mission. "Good morning, Tsunade-sama," said Sum, to which Tsunade nodded before Sum began to speak. "Tsunade-sama, my daughter has a plan for Naruto to stay in the village, and I believe you'd like to hear it, since you wished for him to stay," said Sum, before looking at Hana for an explanation. Tsunade, for her part, really wished for him to stay, but she chose not to force him on the matter, and yet accepted the fact that he returned even if for only 2 weeks. "Tsunade-sama, as much as I care for Naruto-kun, I don't want to see him get hurt out there. So, I thought about using his rank as an imperative to proceed as hunternin. You could assemble a new rule that stand that hunternins must be either jounin or special jounin. This way, Naruto wouldn't be able to be one at least until he progressed to jounin, explained Hana, earning a smile from Tsunade. That's a good plan, except that for Naruto, the ranks between ninjas are no longer taken into consideration. That's only logical, at least to me, since being a genin, he managed to take on jounin and won. Also, I don't believe he'll appreciate the idea much, even though I know Hana-san, where it comes from. The fact remains that Akatsuki is on the run and Naruto may very well be in danger. The last time, Itachi underestimated him, so he escaped, but next time he may not be so lucky. I'll figure out on how to approach him with this, but not now, as I'm way too busy and I can very well see that convincing him will take time, but I'll call you all here first to aid me in talking to him, deal, said Tsunade, earning a nod from those present before they excused themselves. I wonder how he will react once I tell him, thought Tsunade in regards to her decision regarding Naruto's requirement to pass the incoming Shoyunin exams that will happen in 2 weeks. Chapter 13, Tsunade's Bet. Still unaware of Hana's diabolical plan, Naruto was wandering around the village for a while. He wanted to train, but the fox raised some valid point about him easing the strain of chakra, so he needed to occupy himself with something, but the key word here is what. Suddenly, he looked back and saw that a person was smiling straight at him wearing a jounin attire and a blue mask that would cover up to his nose, also carrying the infamous Ika paradise. I take it you're not going to be here long? Asked Kakashi, while continuing to walk before Naruto started to walk alongside him. Sometimes, it's nice to take your mind off the killing part of the job. It gets hard after a while, you know, stated Naruto, to which Kakashi nodded as they remained walking towards nowhere until Kakashi took his face out of the book and looked at his once-time student. Rumors are spreading about a hunter-nin that is cleaning the bingo book. They're calling him Hunter Fox. You wouldn't have anything to do with that, wouldn't you? Asked Kakashi. Well, one time this missing nin called me like that before I cut his head off. I wouldn't imagine he had the time to spread information about me. At least, no one knows what the Hunter Fox looks like, so my identity is safe for now. I was starting to worry there, Kakashi. Chances were the ranked missing nins would already be alerted of me and make preparations for an ambush, said Naruto, but Kakashi just settled for looking at his once student while placing the book in front of him. So they continued walking, while Naruto was wondering why they were going to one of Konoha's training grounds. After reaching a clearing, Naruto turned to see Kakashi, who already kept his book inside his holster and remained with his hands inside his pockets. You know, it's somewhat rude not to call me your sensei. I know I didn't train you much in the past, but at least I deserve as much, said Kakashi with no expression change whatsoever. But then again, Naruto wasn't interested in observing the man's behavior. It's just like the last time, Kakashi. I cannot call you like that, otherwise people will know who I am, but maybe I could use a senpai for suffix. What do you say? Suggested Naruto, before seeing Kakashi holding his chin in a thinking pose, before smiling at the blonde. I think that will suffice. Now I'm sure you're wondering why I dragged you here to a training ground, said Kakashi, to which Naruto nodded and he continued. I've been meaning to train more on Kenjutsu, and I was looking for a sparring partner to hone my skills with. Would you be interested? Asked Kakashi as he unleashed his ninja toe from within a scroll. Upon seeing this, Naruto smiled and unsheathed his newly reformed katana. You know, you could have told me beforehand. You didn't need to keep the mystery going. So how do you want to do this? I was meaning to stop using chakra for a while, but if you want to, I can postpone for after this fight, asked Naruto, though Kakashi only smiled. Just don't kill me and the rest is allowed. I trust that you have no issues with me using the Sharingan. Hi, Naruto, asked Kakashi, to which Naruto negated with his head, before thrusting the sword on the ground and taking his mask off, before seeing Kakashi lifting an eyebrow as in questioning why the hell he did it. As they took his sword from the ground, he spread his feet forward while keeping the other positioned backwards, while using his both hands to position the sword next to his left ear while watching Kakashi with a smile on his face. What good would be a Sharingan if my mask doesn't allow you to look at my eyes? At least this way, I can practice when I face either one of the Uchiha brothers, said Naruto, earning a nod from Kakashi as he also fell into standard Anbi position before analyzing Naruto's posture for a while. Kakashi couldn't help but pride himself of the blonde's skills. Because of the Sharingan, Kakashi would know Naruto's attack in 10 seconds before it happens. However, by not possessing the intent of attacking first, Kakashi wouldn't have a way of knowing what would happen, thus keeping his focus for sudden shifts in the blonde's behavior. It was faster than Kakashi thought it would be, and he very well knew that if he didn't have the experience he wouldn't be able to notice that Naruto was no longer looking at him, but rather Kakashi's feet. Kakashi didn't have time to wonder when Naruto suddenly charged with blinding speed, before maneuvering his sword for a fast and powerful horizontal slash at Kakashi's left side. However, Kakashi managed to parry Naruto's heavy attack with his ninjato and twisted his body to land a reverse kick on Naruto, but the blonde did a backflip, thus escaping the attack and facing Kakashi once more. The silver-haired Jounin was looking at the damage his ninjato sustained and had the decency to be surprised that his sword was broken in multiple pieces. I thought I said that you couldn't kill me, Naruto. That was a very brutal attack, said Kakashi, earning a nod from Naruto, as he sheathed his sword back to the holster and grabbed his mask, before wearing it once more. My style focuses more on strength than speed, hence why I needed to increase my muscle structure. But I believe you need to buy a better sword, or a new one. I saw signs of rust coming from your ninjato. If you want, I can take you to a friend of mine to see a new sword for you, senpai, asked Naruto, earning a nod from Kakashi as he threw his away, since he wouldn't need it any longer, and joined Naruto while walking straight to the weapon shop. At Akito's shop. It was a rather ordinary day for Akito when he opened his store to the public. Not many customers arrived today, and the ones that did only need a couple of shurikens and kuneis. The man was on the verge of sleeping on the counter when he heard sound of the bell that rang every time the front door opened. Upon looking up, he saw Naruto there and smiled at his favorite customer. Naruto-san, it's great to see a loyal customer, so how is the Furizure coming along? Asked Akito, before Naruto unsheathed it to show to the man. It feels heavier than before, said Naruto as he was looking at the sword, but he saw that Akito was smiling, so he got his answer. Anyway, Akito-san, I brought a new customer for you. I'm sure you know Hatake Kakashi, he is my sensei and currently in search of a good sword, said Naruto, as Akito greeted the son of Sakamo. Ah, it's good that you're advertising my shop. Now what type of sword are you looking for, Kakashi-san? Asked Akito, to which Kakashi smiled and went to look at the vast display of swords that hanged on the wall. I'm used to the ninjato and I rely on speed, different from Naruto, who relies on strength. The material would need to be resistant, since I don't want my student to chop my head off, because my sword couldn't parry his. I was wondering though, about the name you gave to Naruto's sword, asked Kakashi, as he noticed that Naruto was already on the other side of the store looking at some brandy new kuneis. That sword was forged a long time ago, the history is lost though. Actually, it was Naruto who gave this name to the sword. I don't know why though. So do you see any sword you like? Asked Akito, earning a nod from Kakashi as he grabbed one that was held on the far wall. Its holster was unique, and the minute Kakashi laid eyes on it, he remembered his father Shiroikiba White Fang. The holster was painted with a coloration of white that resembled the ice, and a gray wolf was engraved in it. That's indeed a great sword you picked, Kakashi-san. Its metal is light, but very resistant. It will fit nicely to your sword style. Now would you like to test it, or you're already satisfied? Asked Akito, before Kakashi said that he was satisfied, before they went to the counter to finish the purchase. If by chance you're in need of repairing it, you can come here and I'll do it myself, said Akito as he took the money from Kakashi and placed it inside the register. After Kakashi strapped the sword on his back, he and Naruto left the store, while Kakashi was taking a closer look at the sword. The silver-haired Jounin couldn't help but marvel upon feeling how light the sword was. Kakashi-senpai, if you don't mind, I'll take my leave. There are some important things that need to be taken care of. Anytime you wish to test your new sword, you can call me. I'll be here for 2 weeks, said Naruto, before turning and walking aimlessly with hands on pocket, while Kakashi watched him from afar. He remembered the strength behind Naruto's technique to the point that his arm became slightly numb from the impact. Whether this was a result from his lack of skills in Kenjutsu or because of his old sword, he didn't know, but the fact remained that his student was coming along nicely and would no doubt surpass him in no time. Smiling for no reason, Kakashi sheathed his sword and went the other way. At the Hokage's office. Tsunade was busy reading a report about a failed B mission near Earth Country when she heard a familiar voice. "Here was I thinking you wouldn't be happy to see me, Suheim?" asked Jiraiya, as he entered through the window and walked until he was in front of the blonde Hokage, who snorted. "Well, if you manage to behave every once in a while, I wouldn't be pissed all the time. What is it that you want, Jiraiya?" "As you can see, I'm kind of busy," said Tsunade while going back to her report. However, while Jiraiya was smiling before he suddenly became serious. "Orochimaru is dead," said Jiraiya, dropping the nuclear bomb before seeing the Hokage's eyes widen to the point he thought they were jumping out of their sockets. "One of my sources told me that he was dead, and you will never guess who killed him," said Jiraiya, before Tsunade guessed right. "Uchiha Sasuke," said Tsunade, and Jiraiya nodded. "Yesterday, Sasuke freed some prisoners from an isolated facility located in the middle of the ocean. I don't know if he asked to spread the word or not, but regardless of which," said Jiraiya, until Tsunade nodded, since she didn't need more explanation. "Am I correct to assume that he's not coming back to Konoha?" asked Tsunade, earning a smile and nod from Jiraiya. "From what I know, he's gathered a group of individuals for his quest against his brother," said Jiraiya until he saw Tsunade get up from her chair and look outside her office towards the Hokage monument, where she knew Naruto would be. "I wonder how will Sakura and Naruto take the news? Naruto is a wild card right now. I don't know what he thinks, but Sakura still has feelings for the Uchiha in more ways than I wish she did, but she has. I wouldn't be surprised if she wanted to go after him one more time. What do you think?" asked Tsunade. I could be wrong, but I don't think that Naruto will have the same intentions regarding going to Sasuke. It won't matter anyway. As soon as he leaves once more, he'll meet Sasuke but with another purpose," said Jiraiya, but he saw Tsunade negate with her head and waited her explanation. "Sasuke is not in the bingo book, Jiraiya. Sakura requested me that of me and I ended up granting it. Also, a couple of people came in this morning with a proposition in order to restrain Naruto from continuing his hunter-nin job, and I accepted. Naruto is strong, but he will be facing a ranked missing nins now, and they were composed of Konoha's elite. Plus Akatsuki stopped falling for your counterintelligence. What guarantee you give me that he will be safe?" asked Tsunade. "He's not going to like it, Suheim, and I'm sure of it. I imagine who came to talk to you, since there are only a few of us who knows of his hunter-nin position. How do you plan on telling him?" asked Jiraiya, before seeing the serious look she was showing. "I don't know yet. I'll think of something when we inform both him and Sakura about Orochimaru's death," said Tsunade before Jiraiya nodded. With Naruto. Still walking around Konoha, Naruto was suddenly in front of an abandoned two-story house. Before entering, once inside, he saw nothing but a white seal engraved on the wall to the left. He then placed his hands on the seal, before channeling some chakra to it. A hidden door suddenly took shape, and Naruto entered before the door closed with him inside. Instantly, whereas darkness engulfed his path before, suddenly lamps went on, illuminating the long set of stairs. The place where Naruto was going was close to 50 feet below ground, so it took a while to reach the end of the stairs, only to see a person he thought he would never see again. Kira was arranging what appeared to be some documents before looking up and smiled. "Naruto-kun, is that you? Oh my god, I missed you. Where have you been?" said Kira as she hugged Naruto. The blonde returned the hug, though he remained like that. "Hello Kira, indeed, it's been a while. I just returned to the village for some vacations. Is the boss here?" asked Naruto, earning a nod followed by a hand pointing the direction to his office. Naruto then walked towards where Kira pointed while admiring the new office. Geisha-sama was always a rather reserved individual, so Naruto would guess that the man wanted a place where he wouldn't be disturbed. Upon opening the heavy blue door, he saw the hunter-nin commander and took off his mask, before kneeling on the ground. "Greetings Geisha-sama," said Naruto as he bowed in respect. "Ah Naruto, my favorite hunter, you don't need to kneel. I've seen you've been busy from the heads that we received. And I guess you wanted a new copy of the bingo book, am I right?" asked Geisha, but he saw Naruto negate with his head. "No sir, I was hoping to see if you could provide worldwide bingo book containing not only Konohas, but also from the other villages," asked Naruto, earning a smile from Geisha. The man was turning to like Naruto even more now. "Sure I do, although Konohas will be smaller since the only ones left are A and S-ranked ninjas. Somehow, your reputation is stopping people from betraying us, and I believe that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong, Sandaime Yondaime and the Godaime are honorable leaders, but they happen to be too lenient on those who wish to betray us. I'll ask Kira to make a copy of my bingo book and give it to you. I trust that you will now hunt for the ranked ones," said Geisha, to which Naruto nodded. "Also, I happen to know that some ranked missing nins may be associated with missing nins from other villages, hence why I want to be prepared in case this happens," said Naruto, earning a smile from Geisha as he buzzed for Kira to make a copy of his bingo book, before Naruto heard her voice on the radio acknowledging the order. "Kira is on vacation from the hospital, and I asked her to help move some papers around," said Geisha, earning a nod from Naruto as minutes after, the girl handed him an extended version of the bingo book. "I appreciate it Geisha-sama, I must take my leave now," said Naruto, earning a nod from Geisha as Naruto returned to the same place he entered the hideout and left from the other side of the abandoned house, before heading to his new home. At the Inuzuka residence After Naruto left the hunter-nin commander, he went straight for his girlfriend's house, seeing as Tsume invited him for dinner. The blonde did protest to the fact that Kiba may know his identity, but both Tsume and Hana assured him that Kiba belonged to the most trustworthy clan in Konoha, and even if he knew, he wouldn't tell a soul. Nevertheless, Naruto wasn't prepared when the youngest member of the family saw him without the mask. Akamaru was already being petted by Naruto, but Kiba just stayed there with his mouth open as in wondering what the hell is going on. Ever since his promotion to Jounin, Kiba changed his appearance and lost that black leather jacket, going instead for a fishnet t-shirt and the standard Jounin vest. After a while, Kiba slapped himself in the face and finally decided to send a barrage of questions to the hunter-nin, like where he was and why he decided to become a hunter-nin. Naruto, for some unfathomable reason, thanked the heavens that Kiba didn't think to ask the reason he was inside his house, because then he would have to explain that he was dating his sister for some time now, and it could get ugly if boy becomes too overprotective of his big sister. Right now, both Kiba and Naruto were discussing in the living room about what happened with the Konoha 9 since Naruto was gone while Akamaru was taking a nap right next to them. "So, Kiba, I take it from the vest that you managed to become a Jounin. I'd say congratulations are in order. Who else, besides Neji and Shikamaru?" asked Naruto, before seeing the male Inuzuka smile at the appraisal. "Actually Naruto, the only one who haven't progressed yet is you. Hinata was the last one who achieved the rank of Jounin, and Neji's team was drafted by Andy just recently. How about you, though?" asked Kiba, before Naruto snorted. "I don't have any interest in rising in rank right now Kiba. During my travels, I faced a lot of tough missing nins whom I believe were Jounin level shinobi. I guess ranks don't mean that much to me nowadays," explained Naruto, but Kiba didn't agree with the blonde. "Are you kidding? Being a Jounin has its perks, you have a bigger salary, access to high-level jutsus, not to mention the respect that comes along with the job. Weren't you the one who kept shouting about being Hokage? You won't be able to unless you reach the rank of Jounin," asked Kiba, before seeing Naruto shrugging with his shoulder. When he was about to speak, though, he stopped dead in his tracks upon hearing Hana calling for him in a rather intimate tone of voice. "Naru-kun, where are you? Oh, there you are. I was wondering if you'd care for a little walk after dinner," asked Hana, to which Naruto nodded, while looking for Kiba before frowning in dismay once he saw the enraged look on Kiba's face. "Naruto, are you dating my sister?" snarled Kiba on the verge of exploding with anger. But instead of trying to run, Naruto just stood there unfazed by the boy's pathetic excuse of a killing intent. Hana, however, chose to speak on her boyfriend's behalf. Yes, we are Kiba. I was meaning to tell you soon. Actually, we've dating for several months now, explained Hana as she embraced Naruto from behind with a clear intent of teasing her little brother and using Naruto for the show. The blonde did acknowledge his girlfriend's attempt at teasing and got up to walk alongside Hana outside, leaving a red Kiba in anger. Naruto didn't have to count to 3 until he had to dodge a tackle from Kiba, while Hana did as well, since the boy would hit her as well. Now, since Hana stepped out, Kiba focused straight on Naruto. How dare you, Naruto? She is my sister and you're my friend. How dare you? Shouted Kiba, before began spinning in its Soyuga attack straight at the blonde, who in turn cursed Kiba for attacking him when he couldn't use his chakra. Actually, he could use, but he had a compromise with Kyubi not to use it until the flow returned to normal. Inches only separating them, Naruto dodged the incoming vortex, before seeing Kiba making a left turn while still spinning, before attacking him once more. Deciding to use other shinobi abilities that do not require chakra, Naruto took a couple of smoke bombs and threw them on the ground, before a large black smoke appeared, thus confusing Kiba, who in turn stopped spinning and landed inside the fog. Just as Naruto was about to approach Kiba, however, Kiba sensed his arrival and jumped out of the way in time before the fog dissipated. Why are you attacking me, Kiba? Asked Naruto as he saw Kiba was still snarling at the blonde. You took advantage of my sister, Naruto. I don't need more explanations, said Kiba before charging once more at Naruto, who sighed and closed his eyes for a moment. He hadn't used taijutsu in a long time, but he just couldn't attack Kiba with his sword unless he wanted to kill him. Upon opening his eyes, he saw that Kiba was mere inches from impaling him with his claws, before Naruto dodged to the right at the last minute, confusing Kiba because he thought he reached the blonde. However, his confusion cost him dearly as Naruto managed to land a precise punch right below Kiba's right shoulder, which was in fact one of the known pressure points of the human anatomy. Kiba simply closed his eyes and fell asleep instantly as Hana appeared with Tsume in tow. What happened here, Naruto, and why is my son on the ground? Asked Tsume before seeing Naruto sigh in dismay. Kiba found out about me and Hana-chan and went ballistic on me. Don't worry, though, I aimed my punch at a pressure point that is linked to the spinal cord. He was asleep before he fell on the ground. He will wake up in an hour the most, explained Naruto, earning a nod from Tsume as Akamaru came and placed his master on his back before taking him back to his room. After seeing the big white dog vanish inside the compound, Tsume decided to go with the couple for a little walk as they discussed some things. Naruto, while I appreciate you taking care of my hot-headed son while not endangering him, I was wondering about something, said Tsume as Naruto looking at her before she continued. Why didn't you use chakra? I mean, Kiba is a jounin and facing a ninja of that level without the use of chakra requires skills. I would like to assume that you weren't showing off, right? Asked Tsume, before seeing the hunter-nin negate with his head. The reason why I didn't use chakra is because I need to ease the flow of it before I return to the hunting. Right now, any technique I use will strain my chakra coils to dangerous levels. After all, I ended up using chakra for a whole year, non-stop. This was bound to happen sooner or later. I wonder now what will happen now Kiba knows about my relationship with Hana. Facing him all the time isn't in my plans right now, asked Naruto, earning a snicker from Hana and Tsume to nod. Kiba is too hot-headed indeed. But once he's beaten to the ground, he will subside. Not to mention the fact that it's the second time you beat my son by using alternative methods, smiled Tsume before seeing the ashamed look on Naruto's face upon remembering what he used to beat Kiba in the past. I still wished that wouldn't happen. At the time my chakra control was lousy because of a seal Orochimaru placed on me, hence why I at the time focused too much chakra and well, you all know the outcome, explained Naruto, earning a dismissive nod from Tsume, who smiled, and then offered them to return for the compound. In a desert area, unknown location . After gathering the last member of the team that will be responsible for aiding him in achieving his goal, the Uchiha was heading towards a place where his clan used for weapon and medicine supplies. Although on the outside, Sasuke remained cool and distant. Inside, he was cursing his companions Karin and Suijutsu, who were busy screaming bad remarks to each other. As he walked, though, something kept playing on his mind about information he overheard Kabuto and Orochimaru talking. Sasuke remembered that Kabuto was on edge because of a new hunternin from Konoha who was responsible for killing the entire B-rank section of the bingo book, namely Jounin level shinobi. Upon hearing the name, Sasuke's mind processed and began to associate the name Hunter Fox with a certain blonde nuisance. Even though Sasuke was considered a ranked because of the Sharingan and the fact that he was training under Orochimaru's tutelage, he couldn't help but wonder if this Hunter Fox would be after him as well. Frowning in dismay at having someone hot on his trail, Sasuke considered relying on his team to take care of him. Jogo was a nutcase, but a chakra powerhouse, and Suijutsu was almost indestructible because of his water-like constitution. Only Sasuke knew how to beat Suijutsu, and that was either using lightning attacks which would flow throughout his body and shock him to death, or use a potent fire technique that would evaporate every water cells from his body. Going through Naruto's known abilities, Sasuke could not detect one skill that would be able to beat Suijutsu. The Rasengan, though strong, would just hit water, and shadow clones attacking wouldn't be different. Now, it has been a long time since he met with the dope, and there is a possibility that he already learned elemental attacks, which would prove to be troublesome, since he could use any of the most taxing chakra techniques without even sweating, and that was indeed troublesome. Sasuke didn't even count Sakura into the mix, because she didn't even deserve his attention. He very well knew that the girl was apprenticed to the Sannin Tsunade, but her abilities bend towards medical ninjutsu, which is useless in the field. Just as he was about to ponder more about the subject, he felt the need to sigh in dismay as he heard yet another bickering courtesy of both Karin and Suijutsu. "Move your ass, Suijutsu, or we'll leave you behind," shouted Karin as she saw him drinking water like crazy because of the desert's hot temperature. Glaring at the infuriating girl for a while, he suddenly remembered that the girl always said she had to go somewhere before. "Don't you have somewhere to go, Karin? Stop bugging me and keep walking, I'll reach you guys in the end," said Suijutsu before seeing Karin begin to tremble in rage as he passed through her and Jogo, who in turn found the discussion quite amusing. Suddenly, though, Sasuke stopped and looked at what appeared to be an abandoned city, before issuing his team to follow suit. Inside a cave, unknown location. There was a reason why no one ever found where Akatsuki's hideout was, simply because they kept on the move. Right now, the remnants of the group gathered their astral projections around a lamp as they debated on the next course of action. "Itachi Kaizam, report your findings about the Kyubi Jinchuriki," said Pine, to which Itachi nodded. "We spotted Naruto inside a hotel in Fire Country and moved to subdue him, however we didn't count for him to trick us by using the mass shadow clone technique as a distraction before escaping," began Itachi, until he heard the new member Toby speaking in a child tone. "Tricked by a teenager, Itachi-senpai? I'd imagine that the almighty Uchiha clan wouldn't be fooled so easily, said Toby before seeing Kaizam snarl because he was also tricked by the Jinchuriki, but Itachi was unfazed as he proceeded with his report. "We have reasons to believe that Uzumaki Naruto is not the same goofy, hot-headed shinobi from before, as I detected a level of confidence particular to someone of our level. I have yet to determine his new skills because so far he didn't use anything apart from the two techniques he's known for. However, records from Konoha indicated that he is still a genin, since he didn't apply for any shounen exams after the one before the Sand Sound invasion," reported Itachi, earning a nod from Pine. "Do you have his position now, Itachi Kaizam?" asked the leader, before he saw both negating with their head until Kaizam chose to elaborate further. "The brat is slippery. Until now, we had no luck tracking his lead, even after we stopped following the San Andreas traces, but they did manage to kill the zombie combo because of it. Whether he returned to Konoha or not, we don't have a clue," explained Kaizam, earning a nod from the leader before he began to think. "Itachi Kaizam, I'll be tracking the Kyubi Jinchuriki personally. First, however, we must eliminate our spy in Konoha before they discover anything. He knows of the Dojutsu secret and as such became too high of a liability. Zetsu will be hunting Danzo and kill him. For now, you two will focus on tracking the eight-tailed Jinchuriki," explained Pine, earning a nod from the others, before their astral projections faded, leaving only Pine and Toby to discuss. Turning to the orange mask, Pine asked what his thoughts were on this manner, to which the man responded, this time with a normal voice. The Rinnegan is still a secret to everyone, hence why you have the advantage in case of a confrontation. However, the chances of you running into the Sannin Jiraiya are too high and he will be tough to beat. Not to mention Hokage Kakashi and some of that village's elite shinobi. Should you go alone, you'll end up facing multiple foes and I can't just sacrifice you needlessly. After all, you're a key part to my plan. For now, focus on tracking him using Conan. Once you do, try luring him to a trap and capture him. According to Itachi, the kid is a goof and will fall for it pretty easily, explained Toby before a sudden Sharingan appeared on the mask hole. With Naruto =====. The next day, Naruto was peaceful inside his new home sleeping when he heard someone knocking on his door. Immediately, he tensed. No one knew he was there and he doubted Hana would be here so early in the morning. Sleeping in late was one of the perks of having a job in the village. Grabbing his sword, Naruto began to walk towards the door like a trained assassin, focusing on lessening his steps, so as not make any noises that would alert his presence. Close to the door was a window that Naruto could see, and when he lifted the drapes slightly, the blonde had the decency to sigh upon seeing his ex-sensei Kakashi with his arms crossed. Leave it to ex-anime Captain Sharingan no Kakashi to find out where Naruto now lived. Upon opening the door, he saw his sensei greet with his hand up and a smile. "Yo Naruto," greeted Kakashi, before he saw the look of pure murder coming from the one who was beginning to wonder how hard it will be to maintain his identity a secret with people like Kakashi shouting his name to the crowd. "Kakashi-senpai, would you please not call me by my name? I'm trying to keep my presence here a secret." "And how the hell did you find me?" asked Naruto, before seeing a smirk on the Jounin's face. "Sorry about the name calling, I'll stop. Also, I went to your old apartment, but it was empty. Pretty clever of you placing the name Hunter Fox as the owner of this place. I've had to call favors with a friend of mine to get this information," said Kakashi, before seeing Naruto sigh and open the door for Kakashi to enter. Once inside, Kakashi was looking at the decoration and found it strange to see pictures of the sea and some landscapes of sea country, before he listened to Naruto as he was going for the kitchen. "I recently acquired this place from a businessman from sea country. I didn't bother taking those pictures off, since I won't be in the village for long. So, you are still due to explain what is it do you need, Kakashi-senpai," said Naruto, earning the silver-haired Jounin's attention. "Tsunade-sama wants to talk to us about something important that came up. She is expecting us in half an hour," stated Kakashi, earning a snort from Naruto, who in turn couldn't figure what the old hag wanted with him and Kakashi, seeing as hunternin's travels alone. It didn't take long for Naruto to dress up his hunternin attire and leave the apartment with Kakashi straight for the Hokage's office, where he saw the old hag sleeping. At the Hokage's office . After entering the office, Naruto and Kakashi sighed, seeing that the Hokage was snoring. To Naruto, this was new, since he did spend the last year outside the village, but Kakashi was accustomed to it, so he shrugged and grabbed a book to read, while hanging close to the far wall of the room. Naruto saw the man, and went to the Hokage's shelf of books for something interesting to read. Upon looking at the titles, he recognized one regarding advanced human anatomy that perked his interest. So, he picked it, and went near Kakashi to mimic him, but with a different book. However, his book choice wasn't missed by his sensei, who in turn wondered why Naruto would interest in knowing about the human body. Naruto noticed the look of question from his sensei. "Weird, huh? Ever since I learned how to hit pressure points, I've become more interested in advanced anatomy lessons. There are several key areas in the body that upon receiving pressure, sends in specific information to the brain. You do remember the episode with Zabuza, right? Well, it's the same thing," said Naruto, before returning to his rather large book. Kakashi nodded, before returning to his book as well. Suddenly, though, both of them sensed someone entering through the window, but returned to their affairs once they realized who was it. Jiraiya was expecting to be scowled by Tsunade for him entering through the window, but sadly for him, the woman was asleep in his office. Looking around, the pervert noticed Kakashi reading his Ika book and another person wearing a leather jacket, and the hunternin mask reading what appeared to be one of Tsunade's boring medical books. He took a while, but realized that the man was his student Naruto. Actually, the scene was quite comical. Jiraiya smiled. He could see the resemblance from their posture, and the fact that Tsunade was fast asleep gave him a funny idea. Immediately grabbing a book of his own, Jiraiya went to the wall and stood next to Naruto while maintaining the same reading position as Kakashi and Naruto. And this was the scene that first greeted Tsunade upon waking up, as a water drop could be seen on the back of her head. She could see that neither of them realized she was already up. "May I ask why you three are standing like this?" asked Tsunade, before seeing all three of them look at them in much the same time and same movement. But the interesting and most comical part of it all was the same timed answer. "You said something, Tsunade-sama?" Mina said all three of them at the same time, earning this time an enraged look on the Hokage's face, before she focused on the book the hunternin was reading and smiled. "If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were interested in learning medical jutsus." "She, Naruto's hunternin codename," said Tsunade before looking at Naruto to see his reaction to her question. "Actually, I'm just learning on specific points to hit my enemies. Sometimes it's good to improvise in the field, Tsunade-sama. I appreciate the book. I didn't know that one straight hit on a specific part of the neck, and the enemy's neck is broken. Most interesting. What else can I use here? Let's see," said Naruto as he returned to the book, not bothering to see Tsunade's irritated face upon seeing the knowledge of medical jutsu used to kill people. However, she didn't fault Naruto for thinking like this, since he was a hunter-nin after all. "Well, Sakura would have to be here as well for what I'm about to tell, but since your presence here is to remain a secret, I'll talk to her later." "Yesterday, Jiraiya brought information on Uchiha Sasuke's whereabouts," said Tsunade, stopping for a while in order to gauge some reaction from the blonde to the news, but found nothing. "Uchiha Sasuke killed Orochimaru," concluded Tsunade before seeing Kakashi show a momentary face of surprise before going back to his lazy display. "Okay, then I guess it's one less S-ranked missing nin in the list to hunt in the future, so what's next?" "Considering that he's still due to go after Itachi?" asked Naruto, earning a nod from Tsunade, who in turn looked at Jiraiya to see that he was smiling at her as in saying that he was right. Naruto didn't give a shit about the Uchiha. "Given your response, am I wrong to assume you don't want to bring him back? I know for a fact that Sakura will ask for a mission like this. What are your thoughts on this?" asked Tsunade. "Sasuke is considered an A-ranked missing nin, hence why he'll be on my list as soon as I set foot out of the village, so it doesn't really matter assigning a mission," said Naruto, earning a nod from Tsunade until he continued. "Unless of course you didn't declare him a missing nin. I've checked an updated version of the bingo book and he wasn't there," asked Naruto, but the silence that soon followed served as a better answer. "I see. Well, Sakura will demand a rescue mission then. I don't know if she changed at all during the time I was gone, but the fact remains that the only person in Konoha who still worships him is her. In the end, though, it's not my problem," concluded Naruto, dismissing the issue as if nothing happened. Seeing the silence in the conversation, Kakashi decided to add another item to the discussion. "Do you have more info about him, Jiraiya-sama? I know that Naruto is not interested in him, but as his sensei, I want to know everything about my students," asked Kakashi, earning a nod from Jiraiya. He gathered 3 allies to aid him in his quest for vengeance. One of them was next in line to take Momoki Zabuza's place at the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist, and the other was the man that allowed Orochimaru to create the cursed seal. The last member of the team is a girl that can sense chakra from a distance. Only Suijutsu has affiliation with the Mist Hidden Village. Their skills though remain unknown for now, reported Jiraiya, before Kakashi nodded. Naruto, though, felt that his presence was no longer needed. "Well, since you don't need me here, I'll take my leave," said Naruto before turning for the door, but was stopped by Tsunade, who shouted his real name this time. "Naruto, wait a minute," said Tsunade, earning the hunter nin's attention before she continued. "There is another matter that I wish to speak with you." "What is it, Hokage-sama?" asked Naruto as he turned to face the Hokage with suspicion. Normally, a Hokage wouldn't need to discuss much with a hunter nin, rather his next target. Also, the fact that Kyubi was going haywire inside his head was any indication that what he won't like what Tsunade have to say. Also, the conversation relating Sasuke was over, so both Jiraiya and Kakashi looked at him as in only waiting for Tsunade to open her mouth before they could gauge his reaction. Naruto, I want to talk about your position as a hunter-nin, if I may. You see, just as the requirements necessary for joining Anbu, which is obtain the rank of Shoyunin or higher in order to join the hunter-nin division, you would have to obtain the rank of Shoyunin or higher as well, said Tsunade before waiting for any sort of retort coming from Naruto, but none came, so she continued. I know you did well on the job. In fact, the hunter-nin chief spoke highly of you. However, being just a genin, you just don't have the set of mind necessary to cope with this job. On several occasions, I heard Gamakichi say that you changed ever since you left, hence why it's imperial that you at least upgrade in rank, before thinking on going against the ranked missing nins, explained Tsunade. Naruto, while hearing, didn't want to interrupt the Hokage until she was finished, but the fact remained that this rank requirement didn't bode well with the blonde, simply because he didn't have to convince anyone in the past to let him go other than the Hokage trying to reason with him as a friend, rather because of the position. Also, the fact that Tsunade waited until now to tell was clear to Naruto that something or someone asked her to do this, and Naruto didn't need to think hard to know that only those who knew about his hunter-nin position would come to ask such a thing. My guess is that Hana came in requesting this to the Hokage. What you think? Asked the blonde to the other mind inside his body. Indeed, you're correct. I'm impressed, though you'd suspect her. What will you do now? Asked the fox, before he saw Naruto sigh in dismay. I believe my options here are reduced to obeying the Hokage's orders. I don't believe this. She is actually willing to risk the well-being of the village just because for me. It'll be even harder to keep my identity a secret this way. I'll have to negotiate the mask, said Naruto, before he blinked only to see that Tsunade was waiting for a response. Seeing as this is a requirement in order to become a hunter-nin, which I doubt it, but I'll do as the Hokage commands. After all, if I counted right, the next Shoyunin exams will be held at Iwa in a month, said Naruto while seeing shocked looks from those in the room, before he crossed his arms and focused his glare on Tsunade. Let me ask you a question, though, Hokage-sama, and I want you to answer as this village's leader, asked Naruto, before seeing Tsunade frown, but nodded. What will happen once Akatsuki realizes who I am and comes here to get me? Seeing as they're a known and feared enemy, you'll place your entire ninja force against S-ranked missing nin who could destroy the entire village landscape with one single technique, and kill a lot of people before being subdued by our forces, if such a thing happens. Would you bear the guilt of knowing that you could have avoided all this by simply letting me do my job? Asked Naruto, before Tsunade realized just what the boy feared. The welfare of a hidden village cannot fall on just one ninja, Naruto. That's a burden not even a Hokage can bear, and what happened to Asuma isn't in any way related to your presence in Konoha or not. Asuma was a shinobi and as such, he was ready to face the consequences, explained Tsunade, but Naruto was lost the moment that name was mentioned. He then turned so that the tears that was now falling wouldn't be seen by anyone but himself. They were tears upon imagining what would happen in case his precious people were killed. I just don't know if I could bear the burden of being the one responsible for the deaths of those I hold precious to my heart, said Naruto before he left, while hoping beyond hope that no one would see him crying. But to the trained-eyed Jiraiya, Kakashi and Tsunade could very well see a single tear falling and sighed in sadness. After he closed the door, the heavy air that filled the Hokage's office dissipated and the Hokage let out her breath she didn't know she was holding and looked at Jiraiya and Kakashi for a moment before Jiraiya spoke. So hard it's the path of the Kyubi Jinchuriki, said Jiraiya to no one, before he turned to Tsunade. Since the Shoyunin exams in Iwa does not require a team of genins, I believe you'll send only him to represent Konoha, said Jiraiya, before he saw Tsunade nod, before he continued. Then I wish to be the one to act as his Jounin sensei, no offense Kakashi, but I believe that Naruto is ready for the same training his father went through and only I can teach him, said Jiraiya, before seeing Kakashi nod and leave in a shunching away. So you're planning on taking him to train with the toads? Asked Tsunade, serving rather as in statement as she saw Jiraiya smiling to her. I'm going to prepare him to be the strongest possible against Akatsuki, said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade nodded before issuing the pervert to leave her alone for a moment, to which he understood and left through the door with the intent of finding his next prodigy. Chapter 14, The Path to Greatness. Immediately after leaving the Hokage's office, Naruto went to the only place he knew he could be alone and think about the major turn of events in his life. Everything he ever fought for, becoming the sacrifice of the village by going against the village's enemies or even luring them away from the village, was all tossed aside by his girlfriend's plan and Tsunade's narrow-minded thinking. What was that the Sandaime Hokage always taught? The needs of many overcome the needs of a few. As a follower of the third Hokage, Tsunade should know this better than anyone, and yet, here she is doing something like this, preventing the Kyuubi container from leaving the village and in time, surely, luring those who seek harm against the leaf. As the blonde looked at the village from above the Yondaime's head, he was at loss of what to do about this new situation. On one side, he kind of understood Hana's selfish desire to be with her boyfriend, as the blonde often considered meeting on more occasions with the inuzuka. However, she of all people should have known how much he suffered after Asuma's death at the hands of Akatsuki. And on a further account, she would also know how much he would suffer by knowing that he was the sole reason why Akatsuki came in and destroyed everything in their path, just for the sole desire to have the power of all the tailed demons. You could very well use my power and vanish, without anyone knowing about it, but I guess you have your morals, and by doing such, you would be considered the very being you're sworn to hunt so passionately, a missing nin, said Kyuubi, which earned a nod from Naruto, as he too considered the greater good of simply escaping and take on the enemies by himself, outside the village walls. Not to mention having to worry about the forces Tsunade will definitely send after me should I do so. I don't have any other choice. I just hope that if Akatsuki chooses to hunt me here, then they'll do it once I'm already set to go to Iwa for the Shoyunin exams. Otherwise, I fear that any type of battle would cause some serious damage to the village's structure, and possibly some lives would be wasted because of it. Listen, how much time is needed for my chakra to return to its normal pace? I'll have to train more if we're to be prepared for those black robe bastards, thought Naruto, before hearing a snicker from the fox, which actually sounded more like an evil laughter if Naruto wasn't so accustomed to the sound. Just another day, and you will be able to use it freely. Normally, it wouldn't be due to a whole week more, but seeing as we are in a kind of hurry, well, at least you are. I've taken preparations to decrease the time needed to normalize your chakra, explained Kyuubi, earning a nod from Naruto. Immediately cutting off his link with the fox, Naruto returned to Konoha, gazing for some time while wondering about what would happen now that he was prohibited from leaving the village by the Hokage. Surely, he would need to address his commander, and he knew the man wouldn't take it so well, probably as far as going over to the Hokage and demand some explanation. Suddenly, his sharp senses alerted him of steps reaching his location before he relaxed upon sensing 3 other similar presences, and only one person would walk around with 3 dogs. I thought I'd meet you here, Naruto-kun, may I join you? Asked Hana, before seeing the blonde nod while caressing one of her dogs. After seeing Hana got to look down at her home with stars in her eyes. The sight was something else entirely. However, when she was about to comment about it, she immediately sensed that something was bothering him greatly. It wasn't until he talked that she felt her heart ache a bit. I know it was you who talked to the Hokage about me staying in Konoha, Hana-chan, said Naruto, before hearing a sigh from the woman he held dear in his heart. Perhaps it was because of this feeling that he didn't yell, shout, or even demand any sort of explanation. However, by getting caught, he could see it had an effect on her once cheerful behavior. Don't be sad like this, Hana-chan. Remembering your smile at the end of the day is what saves me from becoming a cold-blooded murderer, as my job demands of me. The problem, though, is that you very well know that my presence here can attract those who seek the fox, and for that, they would destroy everything. Everything, explained Naruto, earning a nod from Hana, as she was now fearing that her boyfriend didn't like the thought of spending more time with her as she initially hoped he would be. I know that you want for us to hang out more than on rare occasions or through letters, and this is something we both want. Believe me, Hana-chan, that there is nothing more important to me than being around you and seeing that smile of yours. But, if anything were to happen to you and those whom I care for, I wouldn't know what to do. said Naruto, before being surprised at Hana's sudden act of pure romantic impulse, taking off his mask and landing one passionate hot kiss on his lips. Recovering from the initial shock, the blonde returned the kiss with possibly the same passion, and even embraced her in a big hug. After separating from the kiss, Naruto and Hana locked eyes for an instant, just feeling content by looking at each other's eyes, since words wouldn't quite express what each felt for the other. In fact, Naruto was so at ease by looking at her eyes that for the first time since he left the village to become a hunternin, he was caught off guard. Luckily for him though, the four presences that now stood in front of the couple were none other than his girlfriend's mother Tsume and brother Kiba, accompanied by their respective dogs. As Hana looked, surprised at her family, Tsume laughed at her daughter's sheepish and rather flustered look on her face. "I see that by the look on Naruto's face that he already knows Hana-chan," asked Tsume, earning a nod from Hana and a secret smile from Naruto upon realizing that maybe Hana wasn't the only one convincing Tsunade to set out some new boundaries to becoming a hunternin. "Yes, Tsunade-sama just told me about it, Tsume. I didn't know, though, that you were behind this little scheme," smiled Naruto, upon seeing the immediate reaction of both Inuzuka ladies as they covered their mouth in shock at being caught. Kiba obviously was lost in the conversation, if the look of his face was any indication, but the fact remained that he owed some apologies for the blonde for attacking Naruto like he did. Naruto, I wanted to apologize for my reckless behavior that night. I guess that upon seeing you two together, my blood boiled and I was seeing red. I'm sorry," said Kiba, while trying to meet with the blonde's strangely firm gaze on him. Right now, Kiba didn't know which Naruto was scarier, him with or without the mask. Suddenly though, a slight quirk to Naruto's lips was seen and the Inuzuka male relaxed somewhat. "You don't need to apologize to me, Kiba. Hana did tell me you're a bit overprotective of her from time to time. In the end, no one was badly injured," said Naruto, but Kiba's snort amused the blonde as he knew the side effects of hitting Kiba where he did. "Yeah, speak for yourself. After I woke up, I had the worst headache ever. What was it that you do to me again?" "Okasan explained to me, but I didn't understand a thing," said Kiba, earning a snort in response from his mother before Naruto responded. "Basically, I hit you in a specific place in your body that happens to send some neural information to your brain, after being submitted to at least a considerate amount of pressure. That information happened to shut your body to the world, and you instantly fainted. Also the headache was because of the sudden flow of information overwhelming your brain," explained Naruto, earning a respectful nod from Kiba, but still this form of skill was alien to him. Naruto then remembered something that he forgot to ask Kiba, and immediately took care of it. "Kiba, may I ask you one thing? Because of some movement restrictions placed on me, my license as a hunter-nin is currently suspended, hence why I cannot leave the village until I set out for the showdown exams in 15 days. My presence here, though, must remain a secret. Your mother told me that the Inuzuka clan has loyalty as a second nature, so I ask that you refrain from revealing my identity, or even mentioning that I'm in the village," asked Naruto, before seeing the question look that his friend was displaying right now. "Why can't I tell? What's so important that I can't even say you are in the village? You have friends as well, you know. Everyone has been barging on the Hokage's office demanding to hear about you, and now that you're here, you don't want anyone to know that. Why would you want this?" asked Kiba, ignoring the berating voice of both his sister and his mother after his outburst. Naruto, though, wasn't fazed at all about this revelation, as the pain of hiding himself from them was nothing compared to the thought of losing them because of Akatsuki knowing about his position. "Kiba, all I can say is that I've made some seriously powerful enemies during my travels, and if they come after me, no force in Konoha would be able to keep them away without the entire village being destroyed or greatly harmed," explained Naruto. But unsurprisingly to him, Kiba was skeptical about it all. How could he blame him, though? He didn't know half of it. Hence why the story would seem a little bit exaggerating. Hana and Tsume, though, chose not to question Naruto about not revealing the Kyuubi part of the conversation, and who were the enemies that would come after him. "The minute someone else knows that I'm here, news will certainly spread, and I can't have that," concluded Naruto. Truthfully, though, Naruto couldn't curse more at this unorthodox predicament, not to mention completely against his not trusting anyone so easily policy. However, Kiba could very well open his big mouth to someone like Sakura, and then Naruto's every attempt at continuing his hunter nin career would be flushed down the toilet, and that wasn't something he planned on letting happening anytime soon. I still don't know why you don't want anyone to know about this, but since you brought the loyalty of the Inuzuka clan on the table, I guess I have no choice but to comply. I'll keep my mouth shut about the whole thing, said Kiba, earning a nod from Naruto before he picked up the hunter nin mask and placed it on his face once more. Afterwards, the group threw some light conversation about Naruto going on the Shoyunin exams in Iwa before each of them went on different ways. Naruto went to Konoha's real estate office because he needed to register the property of the other two apartments, and also place an ad on the newspaper that he was placing these two to rent, being his intention all along. Naruto never considered himself well versed in financial subjects, but during his travels he often had conversations with business travelers around the world who advised him in regards to what he needed to do in order to raise his income at the end of the month. Some said that he could contact the bank for some investment funds, but Naruto didn't like the idea of looking at the stock market every single day, so he instead chose to invest in real estate by purchasing apartments and place them for rent. By doing this, not only he received the money from the killings, but he also would receive more incomes by each rent he receives. The blonde's target was to purchase a well-sized house in the future for when he settled down in life. Hana was the person that always came to mind when he thought about his future, but it was far too soon for him to even consider marrying her. Not that he wasn't passionate about the girl, which he was. But the fact remained that he needed a steady income to be able to supply both her and their eventual family in the future, and even though the hunter nin job was worth it, Naruto wouldn't be able to do this forever if he planned on settling down. For now, though, the future must remain like that in his mind, and to focus only on the present. As soon as he walked inside his apartment, he began to scan the new bingo book his commander supplied to him, and Naruto was surprised to see that Kira made some adjustments to the book by adding subdivisions Konoha and other villages. Just because he couldn't work as a hunter nin for Konoha, that doesn't mean he couldn't openly hunt those from other villages and collect the respective rewards, because by doing this not only he gets to free the world of criminals in the future, but also manages to stop missing nins from different countries from forming groups, like the Akatsuki. So, he made some instant ramen and sat at the kitchen table while inspecting his next assignment. At the Hokage's office . Revising the last mission reports of the day, Tsunade sighed in relief upon finally finishing them. It was already late at night, and she should very well be sleeping at her house or even having some sake, but no. Shizune just had to bring these damn reports seconds before Tsunade left the office. The Hokage even tried to reason with her pain in the ass assistant, but in the end Shizune once more had the upper hand and convinced her to stay and read the last reports. The administration building was pretty much empty save for the Hokage's secretary and a couple of Anu agents that were supposed to protect the Hokage at all times. Because of this, Tsunade could hear even a pin dropping on the floor of the hallway. Suddenly, though, as she got up from her chair, she heard what appeared to be fast and loud steps coming straight to her office. Whoever it was, Tsunade was certain that he or she was pissed for reasons she really didn't want to deal right now. When the door opened, Tsunade had to suppress a sigh in dismay upon seeing the very man she hoped not to encounter today. Tsuchikage was oftentimes cold, just like his position demands of him. Cold-blooded and ruthless hunter nin, the man earned himself the title of the unit commander for his outstanding work. It somehow surprised Tsunade that the man was downright furious, but she had a gut feeling that she knew the reason of this sudden intrusion. Ageshi-san, I wasn't expecting you this late. What can I do for you, and please make it quick, I was about to leave, said Tsunade, trying to sound aloof to the manner in hand. However, that only helped to infuriate the man even more, and he made no attempt to hide his discomfort. Tsunade-sama, I demand to know why you crossed my authority regarding one of my hunter nins. She is my best in the field, shouted Geishi as he crossed his arms. I received a memo from your office saying that his status as hunter nin is on hiatus until he advances in rank. That's totally ridiculous, Hokage-sama. Even if it wasn't as commander of the hunter nin unit, I must be present in all decisions regarding one of my shinobi. Geishi-san, The reason as to why I placed this condition on him is because I fear for his insanity in the future. I've been hearing reports from his toad summoner saying that his attitude has been changing ever since he initiated the job. The fact remains, yes, that a shinobi's rank is irrelevant to the hunter-nin position, but if he continues like this, there is high chance he will transform into a cold-blooded murderer, and seeing as he is a shinobi from the leaf, he falls into my responsibility. And as such, I will not allow him to continue unless his emotions are in due check, and in that case when he advances in rank, I'll analyze his state of mind in order to see if he's fitted to continue his job as a hunter-nin, because if not, then he'll be positioned as a regular shogunin or jounin and be placed on regular missions for the village. Do I make myself clear? Geisha-san ordered Tsunade with authority, while seeing the man frowning his temples at this situation. Before he started as a hunter-nin, our unit estimated that approximately 5% of Konoha's force becomes a missing nin, rather from crimes committed against the village or for fleeing on us. After, though, this number was reduced severely, simply because of his reputation. But since you're the one making the decisions here, it will be up to you. The responsibility of people fleeing because of his license being revoked. Have a pleasant evening, Tsunade-sama, said Geisha, before turning and leaving the office, but he didn't stop muttering the whole way through. This village has become too lenient on criminals, and this event only proved that. While seeing the man leaving, Tsunade couldn't help but wonder about her decision, mostly in regards to offering second chances. Of course, her decision regarding Naruto was a valid one in her point of view, but what about Uchiha Sasuke? The man escaped from the village for selfish reasons, and on top of that, joined Konoha's worst villain Orochimaru. Even the fact that he betrayed Orochimaru and managed to kill him in the end speaks little to his offenses against Konoha. Tsunade was still due to talk to Sakura about Sasuke escaping from Orochimaru's grasp, but she was having doubts about labeling him as a missing nin. She would have to think about it at home. No matter how much she cared for Sakura, her decisions would have to take into consideration the entire village. The next day. Haruo Sakura got up this morning smiling for some reason. She got dressed and went to cover her shift at the hospital when the Hokage called her in her office. As she got inside and Tsunade started talking, Sakura began to smile as she heard that Sasuke managed to kill Orochimaru and would no doubt return to Konoha. Or so she thought. No, Sakura. He won't be returning to the village. According to Jiraiya, he just gathered up a group of shinobis to join him in his quest against Itachi, said Tsunade, while looking at the sudden sad look Sakura displayed. I see. What are we going to do about it? Naruto is out with Jiraiya-sama, but we could arrange for a mission to go after him, requested Sakura, before seeing her Shisho frown her temples even further, and that got Sakura wonder what happened. Tsunade, for her part, wondered about Sakura's never-ending hope to getting him back, in spite knowing well what he did against Konoha. She was having doubts about revoking her decision to label Sasuke as a missing nin, but after Sakura, one of her jounin, so selfishly requested Konoha to pardon a criminal, her decision was final. No, Sakura, I won't set any one of my shinobi on a mission to get him back. However, I feel it's due time to review his position as one of our shinobi, Sakura said, Tsunade, shocking Sakura to her very core. The girl was smart. She managed to learn everything Tsunade taught her about medical ninjutsu, and now she was a jounin for the leaf at such a young age. Reviewing Sasuke's status meant only one thing, as she was well versed with Konoha's policy to know what Tsunade intended to do. Tsunade-sama, you can't do this to him. Every hunter-nin will be after him for a crime he didn't commit. Please, you agreed that the cursed seal was influencing him at the time, retorted Sakura, before seeing Tsunade close her eyes in contemplation. I said that the cursed seal might have influenced his set of mind at the time, but the fact remains, Sakura, that Sasuke betrayed our trust the minute he considered joining Konoha's worst villain in exchange for power. Not to mention how much shinobi we lost only to gather information on him and Orochimaru. It's due time to leave this manor to the hunter-nin division, said Tsunade, before seeing the downcast look on her student's face. Sakura, answer me something. Why are you so eager to protect him, even though you said it yourself he never exchanged the same courtesy neither to you nor Naruto? Asked Tsunade, before seeing Sakura look at her with genuine surprise written in her face. He was a part of Team 7, and Naruto would agree with me that Konoha's his place. And while Sasuke never did return any sort of affection towards us, he was a member of the team, not to mention that I have feelings for him, said Sakura with tears falling from her face. But Tsunade had the decency to look ashamed at her decision 3 years ago. Let me tell you something, Sakura, this childhood crush of yours is a myth. The man only believes in his revenge against his brother, and he wouldn't lift a finger to help you. Also, you're wrong in assuming that Naruto agrees with you, because from what Jiraiya told me, he finally saw reason, said Tsunade, earning a shocked look from Sakura upon hearing that Naruto is no longer worried about bringing Sasuke back. Naruto is traveling with Jiraiya to become even stronger, so that he has a binding chance against those after him. He told Jiraiya that Sasuke could have returned home after Orochimaru if that was his wish to do so. He already saw reason in this manner, and as of right now, I'm labeling Sasuke Uchiha as an A-ranked missing nin. He still has a chance of surrendering and receiving a light penalty, but if he tries to fight back, he will be sentenced to death just like any missing nin, concluded Tsunade, earning a nod in understanding from Sakura before she turned and left the premises, thus leaving Tsunade alone in her office. Tsunade didn't actually lie about Naruto's feelings towards the Uchiha. He did say that he no longer thought of him as any different as a missing nin that he hunted with such a passion. The blonde Hokage actually felt sorry about Sakura though. She first wondered that Sasuke was nothing but a child crush and with time it would fade. Instead, this feeling grew to dangerous proportions and Tsunade feared that Sakura could do something stupid because of the Uchiha. She surely hoped not though, seeing as Sakura is a jounin, and a respected medic nin on the field. It would prove to be disastrous if the Hokage's faith in her abilities were misguided, and it turns out her mind isn't evolved enough to take the responsibilities of a jounin. With Sakura, after she closed the door, images of Naruto flashed inside her mind as he said that he wouldn't stop trying to bring Sasuke back. She wondered about the blonde now more than ever, since they haven't spoken with each other for almost 2 years now. No doubt something happened to him in this trip for him to suddenly change his feelings for Sasuke and abandon him just like that. Little did she know though, what really happened to Naruto. 1 week later. 1 week passed by and several occurrences happened. Sakura, after knowing about Sasuke being labeled as a missing nin, went into depression and stayed inside her room for at least 4 days until Ino came and rescued her. Actually, Ino gave Sakura an ultimatum by orders of the Hokage that if Sakura wouldn't pull herself together, she would be punished severely, even bearing on demotion. Also, the Yamanaka lady managed to convince Sakura in the end by saying that Sasuke was too much bent on revenge to even consider coming back to Konoha. Of course, it wasn't the words that convinced her, since Tsunade said the same thing, but rather the fact that one of Sasuke Uka's fan club, Yamanaka Ino, said so. Ever since the academy, Sakura and Ino would bicker with each other only to see who would be chosen by the mysterious Uchiha Sasuke, and for Sakura to hear Ino speaking about forgetting about the rivalry kind of wakened Sakura of her self-induced trance. Sakura still mourned Tsunade and Naruto's decision to let go of Sasuke, however, as a jounin, she just couldn't afford to let such a burden take control over her actions, and Tsunade concurred with every word. In the end though, the Hokage convinced the hunter-nin commander to place in special order on his bingo book page to ensure that he received the chance to come back willingly. That managed to ease Sakura's heart a little bit, but little did she know that the one who would probably be after Sasuke was none other than his old teammate Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, after closing rent to his 2 apartments, he spent the whole week in Hana's house, while getting to know her family and also spending some time with both Kiba and Sum. The inuzuka heir kept his end of the bargain and kept his mouth shut about Naruto's return to the village, but because of his impulsive behavior, he wasn't doing a very good job and one of his teammates Chino was getting suspicious. Kurenai managed to help by easing the situation, but the Ibarame heir was considered a genius and such information wouldn't take long to reach his ears. After speaking to the blonde about it, Naruto nodded with his head, knowing that Shino's bugs would alert him to Naruto's presence, so it would be inevitable in the end. The hunter-nin just hoped that Shino's logic would prevent him from speaking the truth to everyone. 2 days ago, the meeting occurred simply because Naruto chose to let Shino know. He told Kiba to call Chino in for a little chat, to which the Aburame acquiesced, and appeared at the Inuzuka compound 2 days ago. Flashback on. Naruto was sitting next to a tree located within the Inuzuka compound in a deep state of meditation. His chakra flow was already normalized, so he was now getting accustomed to the flow, for when he needs to use it once more. He then opened his eyes when his senses caught movement in front of him and saw Kiba, and what appeared to be a member of the Anu forces. "Hello Uzumaki Naruto, it's been a while," greeted Chino, before seeing Naruto with his mask on getting up before offering a handshake to the Aburame. "It's nice seeing you, Chino. I see you became a part of the Anu forces, good for you," said Naruto, earning a nod from Chino, who was analyzing every single information about Naruto from both his bugs and what his eyes told him. The man was simply surprised to see the results. According to his bugs, Naruto's chakra capacity nearly doubled since last time, and he could very well find traces of Futen and Katan chakra flowing through his chakra coils. "Likewise, I've been wondering, though, about the reason behind your avoiding your friends. Have you no faith in us?" asked Chino, with normal apathy, but this was Chino they were talking about. Naruto, though, didn't sound ashamed or regret. "There are some aspects of my life that should remain confidential, Chino. I know very well that the bug you placed on me told you every information about my body, so you know any information leakage would result in either Konoha or those I care for being on the receiving end of my enemy's hands. It's not that I don't trust you guys, it's just that I didn't want to take any chances only for it to come bite us in the end. Logic prevails in this manner, Chino. In order to keep information from your enemy, one must keep it away from your friends first," explained Naruto, earning a nod from Chino as he concurred with the blonde's assessment of the situation. Indeed, logic overrules any sort of emotional sentiment, and having faith in others may result in the secret being leaked. "I'm surprised, though, about your change in attitude, Naruto," said Chino, to which Naruto let out a snort. "Let's just say that in my situation, I didn't have much of a choice otherwise. People would perish because of what I represent, and I just wouldn't be able to handle the responsibility. It was better for me to do what I did, than wait for them to come here and destroy everything in their path. Sarutobi Asuma was the first, and because of what I did, hopefully, he will be the last," reasoned Naruto, earning a nod from Chino. Kiba, however, was completely lost during one part of the conversation, and left the two masked shinobi alone to talk. "Your secret is safe with me, Naruto, don't worry about it. However, in case you are in need of any help, don't hesitate to call me. You're one of us, even though your selfishness would have killed you if not careful. Now, I must take my leave," concluded Chino, earning a nod and a farewell from Naruto. Flashback off. Since the talk, Naruto spent his time training to adjust his chakra to normal levels. He would practice some ninjutsu from both elements, some agility exercises with his weights in order to maintain his body mass to acceptable levels. Earth manipulation was only studied, since for Naruto to adjust a new element to his ninjutsu department, he would need to be well versed on the theory before even trying to use Doton techniques. Today, Naruto went straight to the garden located on top of the Hokage Tower, where he was supposed to meet Jiraiya. They still had 3 weeks left to attend the Shoyunin exams, and Iwa and Jiraiya first wanted to take the boy to Mount Myobaku in order to teach one last arts to incorporate in his arsenal. It so happened that Jiraiya realized that Naruto was reading about Doton manipulation, and the pervert was giddy to teach him some techniques while traveling. Upon arrival, he alerted his presence to the pervert before seeing Jiraiya to address the blonde. "I thought that you'd lose the mask by now, care to give me a reason?" asked Jiraiya, earning a snort from Naruto, since he thought the man was going senile by asking such a question. "Yes, that's a good idea. Not only Konoha would see me, but Akatsuki would as well, thus luring them here to attack us. There is a reason people hide their identities, Jiraiya. I don't wear the mask for fashion reasons," spoke Naruto, earning a smile from the pervert. "I wouldn't think of the word paranoia to describe you," said Jiraiya, before turning to face the village once more. "I prefer the term cautious, if I may now. Tell me, what did you call me here for?" "We are scheduled to leave for the Shoyunin exams in 2 weeks, asked Naruto, earning a nod from Jiraiya. "There has been a change of plans, and we're leaving tomorrow towards a special place where I want to teach you something," So tell your girlfriend and her family that you'll be leaving tomorrow, ordered Jiraiya as he saw Naruto crossing his arms. How do you know I'd agree with you teaching me whatever it is? It's not like the Shoyunin exams is so hard to pass. If the one from Konoha was any indication, asked Naruto, before seeing Jiraiya smile at the blonde. 3 years ago, Naruto would drool at the prospect of being trained, but now he was showing reluctance. It's a surprise, kid. All I can say that only 2 people ever received this type of training, and I can guarantee to you that it will be worth it. Plus, this ability I intend to pass on won't be needed for the Shoyunin exams, since your skills are more than enough. Now, it will be served to counter Akatsuki's most powerful members in the future. Itachi and Kaizen are indeed powerful, but according to my sources, they respond to the group leader, so it's safe to say that skills alone won't get you far. You'll need these skills to have hope against the strongest members, explained Jiraiya, as he turned to face the hunternin. Sounds like you already know what's going to happen in the future. Nevertheless, maybe these skills you speak about can be beneficial in the long run. When are we leaving? Asked Naruto, earning a smile from Jiraiya. Tomorrow at noon, meet me here, scheduled Jiraiya, earning a nod from Naruto before he vanished within a small tornado. The next day with Sasuke. After picking up some supplies and medication, Sasuke and his crew traveled north to a rather crowded village where they stayed for the duration of the week while the team investigated Itachi's whereabouts. However, not much information was found by either Karin or Suijutsu. They heard only basic information that was pretty much common knowledge by now. However, Jogo had the ability to communicate with the animals, hence how he discovered a couple hideouts used by the Red Cloud organization called Akatsuki. He couldn't pinpoint, though, their exact location since, like Orochimaru, the group never settled for remaining in one place, so while Jogo had a breakthrough regarding the hideouts, he didn't supply much for Sasuke to work with. Sasuke, it would be prudent, perhaps, to change our focus in this manner, said Jogo, earning Sasuke's attention before he proceeded. From what the animals told me, Akatsuki's targets are special type of shinobis with demons trapped inside them. I believe the appropriate term to call them is Jinchuriki, a prison for the tailed beasts used by each hidden village to seize an advantage in the midst of the great shinobi wars. In order for us to know where Itachi would be next, we should focus, perhaps on the one your brother is after, explained Jogo before seeing Sasuke fall into a thinking pose by resting his chin on his left hand. Suddenly, images of an annoying teammate and the Kyuubi inside him flashed through his mind. Indeed, Itachi would be after Naruto in order to capture the Kyuubi inside of him, so if they went after Naruto, there would be high chance that Itachi would be present as well. The only problem with this plan would be the blonde's pathetic attempts to bring Sasuke back to Konoha upon seeing him, and that was something the Uchiha didn't want to handle at the moment. Jogo, there is a Jinchuriki from Konoha that I believe is the one that my brother is after. Are you able to gather information regarding his next whereabouts? His name is Uzumaki Naruto, asked Sasuke, earning a nod from Jogo. The animals can sense where these special type of individuals are, and they told me about someone residing in Fire Country. It must be him. As far as I know, Konoha only has one Jinchuriki. I'll see with the animals about his current location and current route for us to see where he's heading, said Jogo, before a couple of birds landed on the big guy's shoulder before he initiated the communication. In minutes, the birds flew away with the investigation in hand, while Team Heavy remained inside the room waiting for the information to come back. With Naruto. As soon as Naruto said his goodbye to Hana and her family, he meets the pervert on top of the Hokage's tower. They, afterwards, left the gates towards Iwo where the Shoyunin exams would take place. Also, since Naruto left the village, the hunter-nin mask wouldn't serve the purpose, which was hiding his reputation as the hunter fox for now. A couple miles later, though, Jiraiya stopped Naruto for a while. What's the matter, Aro-sanin? Asked Naruto, earning a snort from the pervert at the recollection of the name. Remember when I said we'd stop at one place first? Well, there's special route in order to take us there, said Jiraiya as he bit his thumb and made some hand seals, before slamming his hand for the summoning technique. After the smoke dissipated, Naruto expected that Gamabunta would appear or his pal Gamakichi, but instead a little green toad with a dark cape surrounding his body. "Hello Uzumaki Naruto, I see it's time for you as well," greeted the green toad, but Naruto was caught staring at the little toad as in wondering just who the hell this little toad was until Jiraiya stepped in. "Fugasaku-sama, I called you here so that you can take us to Mount Myobaku," stated Jiraiya, earning a nod from the toad named Fugasaku, before he initiated a long series of hand seals, before slamming his two hands on the ground for. Instantly, all three of them disappeared from view, but none of them realized a couple of birds watching from a distance, before they flew away in order to meet with their contact. With Sasuke . In no time, the birds arrived at the place where Team Heavy was and landed on Jogo's shoulder before telling him about a person that matched the description of a Jinchuriki. Sasuke, according to them, this Naruto person had just left Konoha heading towards the northeast direction. Possible destinations are Uegakure, Kusagakure and Takagakure, reported Jogo, to which Sasuke nodded and turned to think about it for a moment. "Hey, I believe that the next Shoyunin exams will be held in Iwa, thus he could be going there to participate," said Suijutsu with his hands on his chin in deep thought. "Baka, this Naruto was Sasuke-kun's teammate. There is no way in hell he is still a genin. Maybe he's accompanying a team as their Jounin sensei," shouted Karin, earning a snort in reply from Suijutsu before he kept quiet. "Humph, I bet the dope is the only one from my age that's still a genin. We'll go to Iwa in 2 days. Pack your things and don't forget to cover your tracks," ordered Sasuke, clearly underestimating Naruto. Little does he know, though, that it will be his biggest mistake. Chapter 15 Old Acquaintance. A little over 2 weeks passed ever since Naruto began his training under the toad's tutelage, and the blonde was now seating in a meditating position on the top of a platter while balancing himself on top of the mountain. Surely, it was a rather gruesome test for him to learn how to use natural energy instead of relying on one's inner chakra. He certainly did remember every path very clear in his mind. Flashback on. As soon as Naruto and Jiraiya arrived at Mount Myobaku, the blonde took his time to study this strange and somewhat peace environment. The sun managed, with its majestic light, to illuminate the entire set of mountains and forests that surrounded the Toad's village. His training would have to be increased, since he didn't have enough time for a full-time training, so a crash course would have to do. The blonde heard the explanation on how to use the energy that nature provides, and he actually felt it to be quite easy, at least in theory. The problem with him, though, was that unlike Jiraiya, whom could merge with the toad in order to complete the transformation, the fox's simple presence didn't allow the elder toad to sync with the boy, leaving him to learn how to gather nature chakra all on his own. Impossible wasn't a word that could be described for Naruto's attempt, rather the fact that no one ever succeeded, and the fact that those who tried it in the past now were a part of the many frog statues that adjourned near the oil waterfall in front of them. The method was simple enough, but the consequences were deadly. The blonde figured that with the Kage Bunshin level of training, he could learn how to gather natural chakra faster. Therefore, he summoned 3 Kage Bunshins, and had each rubbed the oil on their respective bodies. However, quite suddenly the 4 Narutos began to transform into a toad more appearance, before the elder toad smashed them all with a black staff, giving Naruto both the headache from the hit, and from dispelling his Kage Bunshins. He would curse the damn toad not to do this anymore. "I'm very much obliged to do this, Naruto, otherwise you'll end up as one of them." Transforming into a toad statue wasn't on his PLNS, so he obliged without question. He then heard the little toad named Fugasaku explain about the theory behind using nature chakra. "You need to unite body and mind, so you could see the nature chakra that surrounds us. Now, let's try again, because from what Jiraiya-chan told me, your time is rather short." After hearing some lecture from the absurdly little toad and nodding in understanding, Naruto once again summoned 3 Kage Bunshins, and repeated the process only for the toad-like appearance to return, and the usual bonk on the head was received. Flashback off. Naruto needed close to a week only to get adjusted to the new source of chakra. Fugasaku and Jiraiya in front of him watched the blonde in meditation with a smile on their faces. No human had ever managed to draw on nature chakra without the help of a toad to serve as a medium, and the perverted Sannin was very proud of the blonde for overcoming such an obstacle. Naruto didn't have time to learn the toad's taijutsu style, but that could be taught to him easily once he has more time available. For now, only training and using nature chakra will have to do, and the fact that with it, Naruto's jutsus would already improve, Jiraiya felt confident that he would give any Akatsuki member a run for the money. He noticed with amusement as a blue bird landed on Naruto's shoulder before seeing the blonde opening his eyes to look at said bird for a while. The problem was that the bird disrupted Naruto's concentration, thus making him lose his balance. The fall was quite large and Jiraiya looked at the toad worrying over his student before he remembered that one of the attributes of nature chakra was that it managed to absorb most of the impact, leaving only a minor bump to the user's body. 100 meters down, Naruto was holding his head in order to stop the headache, while at the same time, cursing the stupid bird who had to ruin his concentration. While you curse the little bird, I'm holding my stomach from laughter. It's been a while since I saw you showing a scared face. The blonde heard the damn fox laughing inside his head, which caused him to snort while wondering if the fox was now presenting a humorous comment instead of usual sarcastic remarks, which by the way infuriated him. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you'd be glad to see me gone, furball. I'm relieved though, this nature chakra thing eased the fall, otherwise I'd be done for, thought Naruto, followed by a snicker from the fox inside his head. Get rid of you. No, you're too amusing for me to want that. That face of yours will be forever printed in my memories. Regardless, the pervert sure gave us an interesting skill to work with in the future. I admit that this nature chakra intrigues me to no end. Imagine the possibilities if we were to merge our chakras with this new source. True enough, Naruto was in fact following the fox's enthusiasm and wondering if such a feat was possible. Furball, I was thinking of new jutsus we can use with the natural energy. I remember you saying to me about an extremely potent katan technique that would drain even my reserves, and I was wondering about how we could learn advanced Fuden jutsus like the control of gravity, thought Naruto, before hearing the fox deep in thought. Most amusing you are indeed, Naruto. You seem adequate enough at the art of nature chakra gathering, so you could use the last week in order to practice these two jutsus we worked with. Just tell the pervert that you need some alone time to train and meet with him back here a week from now. The blonde concurred with the fox's assessment and went immediately to talk to Jiraiya so that he could have the next week alone to train a couple of jutsus using nature chakra. The Sannin thought for a while he wanted for Naruto to learn some of the toad jutsus, but he knew if the blonde used them in the midst of his hunting, people would know about his identity. He concurred in the end with the blonde's request, saying that he was to meet here in a week. Naruto nodded and grabbed his clothes before putting them on, before leaving the vicinity. As he was jumping through the trees, he spotted Gamakichi going right by his side, jumping. The peculiar situation that Naruto found was that the normally his height toad now easily was 15 feet minimum, and while Naruto was using the trees to jump, the toad was simply not caring all about them. How the hell did you get so big, Kichi? I know I haven't summoned in a while, but damn. The now rather big-sized toad just laughed at his summoner's expense, but indeed it was the first time that Naruto saw the real him instead of how he appeared in the other dimension. Father and Fugasaku-sama asked me to follow you and see how you'd use the nature chakra, and which jutsus you'd come up with. We have a record, you know, of sage arts ninjutsu. As such, it will be responsibility to report them your techniques. As to why I'm so big, actually since you started your hunternin mission, I suffered a growth spurt of sorts. I just appear little in your world at my choosing. When father retires, I'll be replacing him as the boss toad, so he's training me. After being explained, Naruto offered a nod in understanding, before he stopped in the middle of clearing that happened to be close to a rather dense swamp. Suddenly, a horde of giant bugs appeared ready to attack the invaders, only for Gamakichi to grab them all with his gigantic tongue, before swallowing every insect, clearing the sky. As the toad was rubbing his stomach in downright satisfaction, the blonde had the decency to flinch at the scene. In 2 weeks, he avoided the grotesque cuisine, opting to find at least something that he could eat without immediately throwing up. Luckily, he found a large fauna located a few miles from the toad's house, saving his stomach. He smiled upon remembering that Jiraiya tricked everyone into enjoying the bugs, before he would join Naruto for a delicious pork barbecue. With Sasuke == Taking his time to arrive at Iwagakure, Sasuke and Team Snake were now resting inside an inn close to Kusagakure. The news that Naruto somehow disappeared from thin air was disturbing to the Raven Uchiha, and Jogo couldn't figure out how he managed to escape from the animals. Nevertheless, they knew that the blonde would be present for the Chunin exams, hence why the leader continued on his course of action. Hopefully, Itachi would be going there as well, and then Sasuke would finally be able to kill his brother for good. For a while now, though, Itachi wasn't the only subject of his thoughts, rather being divided between him and the blonde they were now tracing. Something didn't add up, he thought. Naruto could be a pest at times, but Sasuke was certain that the blonde had enough power and skill by this time to be warranted the Jounin position. He cursed the fact that lack of intel could be the end of him, but he would need to see how the dope fights with his own eyes. Another thing that bothered him was the sudden inclusion of his name in Konoha's bingo book as an A-class missing nin. He frowned in dismay at wondering why they took so long to do this. It's been a long time since he betrayed the village by joining Orochimaru, and all this time he wondered why the village didn't place him as a missing nin then. The problem now was the hunter nin squad Sasuke knew about, and the thought of having to face them in battle at the same time as going after Itachi. Somehow, he wondered if either the dope or Sakura managed to convince the Hokage not to enlist him as a missing nin after his first act of betrayal. Regardless, though, now the group needed to double the attention on their surroundings. Karin would now be the key for his victory against Itachi and the hunter nin that would come after him. 2 days later. Back with Naruto, the blonde was holding the tiger seal while 3 pillars of white-hot fire were spinning around him in a clockwise pattern. His eyes were closed in utter concentration as controlling the pillars took a high amount of chakra. However, now using nature chakra, he found that his reserves weren't even touched, and he could use this technique without worrying about chakra exhaustion. Suddenly, he opened his now horizontally slitted eyes and focused more on nature chakra before the pillars of flame started spinning in front of Naruto as they were suspended on air in an horizontal manner. What happened next could better be described as awesome by Gamakichi, as the pillars of flame each shot a beam of fire, before each started spinning to form a drill and hitting the forest in front of them. Senpikatan Kainhari, Sage Arts Fire Release, Blazing Hell Jutsu. Needless to say, the forest was decimated within seconds as the fire engulfed the entire arena into a crisp. Immediately deactivating the technique, the blonde took a moment to study his new jutsu for any weakness to improve on. Certainly, the time was its biggest flaw, since he took longer than expected to complete the technique. No doubt he would be killed even before he adjusted the pillars horizontally. Another aspect of it is the tunnel-like range of the attack, meaning that his enemy could easily dodge the attack, so Naruto could only use while the enemy is distracted enough to allow him not only time, but certainty that the attack would hit the opponent. Perhaps it would be wiser to use this jutsu while in a coordinated effort. You can't distract the enemy at the same time as attacking him. Let's move on to the next jutsu, the gravity one you're talking about. Naruto had the decency to sigh in dismay as one of the jutsus would be unusable in his line of work, since he didn't have what it took to use this katan jutsu quite yet. It was served as a long-range technique, yes, but any enemy, at least the high-level ones, would use the time granted to attack Naruto. Perhaps because fire isn't my affinity, it takes more time to perform, but I'm certain that the wind one will be much easier and less time demanding. The technique, or at least the theory behind it, is quite simple. With nature chakra, I can use it to further increase the density of the air molecules, and with wind chakra compress the air. With it, the enemy's body will become 10 times heavier, thus his muscles and organs will atrophy, thought Naruto, as he watched the big fox thinking for a while. I understand now why you could only do this with nature chakra, because only then can you look at air molecules. Nonetheless, while you can visualize it, that doesn't mean you'll be able to bend it to your will. Are you certain that wind chakra enables such control? If someone would ask the demon a couple years ago about how much credibility would be given to Naruto's ideas on chakra-related techniques, the creature would surely respond with uncontrolled laughter, but after spending much time on conversations with the blonde and actually seeing merit in his ideas, the fox just wasn't able to discredit his theories so much from fear of the blonde actually demonstrating what he said. Nevertheless, it was a hobby of his to pester the blonde as much as he could, so it should work. It's the same principle behind the way I performed the great breakthrough technique. I first let out an almost faint gust of wind from my lungs, and with wind chakra, expand it to perform a strong gust of wind. It's just a matter of control over the element of nature, don't you agree? Explained Naruto, but still the fox was skeptical. Your theory is passable at best. There is a great gap in it, but we'll have to see how it goes as far as practice is involved. Naruto knew enough about the fox's taunts to know that he was being an ass for the single purpose of riling him up a bit. One of these days, I'll enter that cage and shove a racing gun up his ass, I swear I will. With Itachi and Kaizen . Coming from the north, cutting through Otagakure, Itachi and Kaizen were walking without a care in the world towards where they would finally capture the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. The boy was as slippery as a snake, but now they would capture him, Jiraiya there or not. They received the information from the Chunins that were responsible for gatekeeping in Konoha. According to their conversation, the Kyuubi kid and the Sannin left towards Iwagakure for the incoming Chunin exams that would be held in a couple weeks. The thought of what the blonde was doing at a Chunin exams didn't pass through their heads, simply because it was meaningless. To the two, all it mattered was the Kyuubi leaving inside of the boy. Do you think it's wise to capture him inside the village, Itachi? Certainly, we'd have to fight some of Iwa's goons in the end, just to get to him, and while I enjoy a good fight and Samehada enjoys some chakra, it's unlikely of you to plan like this so recklessly. It wasn't that the shark was afraid or anything, but the mere thought of doing something so rash just for the objective didn't seem like one of Itachi's usually brilliant schemes. That's the entire reason Kaizen, by entering the village, Naruto and Jiraiya will believe they're safe from our grasp inside. However, what they fail to realize is that getting inside unnoticed doesn't require much skills, and our organization isn't worried about starting a war. Nevertheless, I feel it's high time to warn you, Kaizen, the boy is not to be underestimated. Last time he managed to escape our grasp because of it, but now things will be different. Well, aren't you a feisty individual, Itachi? Samehada will enjoy all that chakra of his, don't worry about it. All that Itachi did to respond was the usual HN, seemingly both Ukas made to display their annoyance hidden by a pathetic attempt to dismiss the subject, but Kaizen could only smile with those usual shark-like teeth that all Kiri ninjas seems to possess. And actually, that's more a wonder of mine. Who we didn't meet aside from the Mizukage in the manga that didn't have those different set of teeth, maybe it's a village characteristic. Regardless, we should keep our eyes put. Our contact in Konoha said next to nothing about what skills he now possesses. Not to mention we have Jiraiya to worry about as well. Time skip, end of the week . By the end of the week, Naruto was on Gamakichi's back as they jumped towards the place where Naruto was supposed to meet with Jiraiya in order to continue their journey towards Iwagakure. A full grin was clear on his face as he proved the damn fox wrong with his new technique called Senpufuden Joyase Seiryoku Sage Arts, Wind Release, Gravity Force Jutsu. Of course, some twists were necessary because for Naruto's old theory to work, he would have to link each molecule with the other in the order to control the gravity throughout the whole field. So, he instead focused on the bigger picture, expanding his chakra throughout the entire region, not worrying about a specific point. Because of this, his attack range was wider and more unpredictable, being him the only one who could see where the gravity would be heavier. In little to no time, Naruto and Gamakichi arrived at the place where Jiraiya and Fugasaku stood, waiting. I trust you made good use of the time given, Naruto. Jiraiya often wondered if he should follow after Naruto to see what jutsu he was practicing, but in the end, he learned to keep his cool about it since Naruto would either tell or show it to him eventually. Very two jutsus, almost mastered, needing only a few more testing. Fugasaku-sama, I appreciate your time in training me at the arts of senjutsu. No doubt, the little toad looked startled for a moment as the following bowing in respect took him by surprise. He was under the impression that the blonde lacked some knowledge regarding his mannerisms, but then he was paying attention to a rather brief report Jiraiya made when he first met the boy 4 years ago. Jiraiya for his part looked offended by the sudden show of respect displayed by the blonde towards Fugasaku in contrast to how Naruto often called him a perverted hermit for no reason whatsoever. Well, at least according to him it wasn't, but everyone would think calling a pervert would be an understatement. Oigamakichi, I want to hear about the kid's jutsus later, alright. As to you Naruto-kun, it was a pleasure teaching the likes of you. Because of you now, others will be able to better grasp the art of the sage arts without needing the toads for it. Have a safe journey and don't forget to call us when your life is at risk, smiled Fugasaku, before he saw the two vanish within puffs of smoke. The real world equals. After Naruto and Jiraiya were summoned back to their world, they looked around them to see a small green toad with goggles on his head. Jiraiya-san, I've summoned you two at the exact position you were before going to Mount Myobaku. You're 2 days away from Iwagakure and 4 days away from the beginning of the Chunin exams. Is there anything more you wish of me? The voice was difficult to understand because this toad was actually smaller than Fugasaku, a feat that Naruto never thought it would be possible, but his eyes didn't fool him. Jiraiya though didn't ponder on that, opting instead to just appreciate and watch as the toad vanished back to his realm before he turned to the blonde. We'll have now to step our pace, I'm afraid. According to Iwa's rules, all attendants must be present 1 day prior to the exams for registration purposes. Therefore, we have 3 days to arrive and place your name. Now, let's move. It wasn't long until they initiated their path, which, by the way, would have to be treated with care so as not to alert any of Kiguse's forces. Of course, they were going for the Chunin exams, but trusting anyone like that meant death in the shinobi business. A few hours after, the sun was already down and the moon were now taking the responsibility of illuminating the rather large canyon the two now stood. They managed to cover quite a bit of ground going around Kusagakure territory, since it would be faster, albeit more dangerous. Naruto managed to count at least 3 guard outposts they swiped by without being spotted. Now the area they were located were filled with enough caves for them to hide in case Kusagakure tries to find them. While Jiraiya was preparing a fire, Naruto took his time to watch the beautiful scenery before him. His hunting missions never brought him up to the north, and he was enjoying himself right now. The pervert watched with amusement while adding some oxygen for the flame to increase. The two found some banana trees nearby and took them for dinner, but a nice fire was for them to get warmth throughout the cold night ahead of them. After dinner, Jiraiya decided to sleep a bit and pick Naruto for the first watch, which infuriated Naruto since he knew that Jiraiya was sleeping the entire time on the Toad's Mountain. He agreed, nonetheless, as he now stood sitting on a rock near the cave entrance where they sent their respective tents. He was watching for a couple of hours until he felt 4 presences coming straight at him from up the mountain. Silently, he sent a cage bunshin to wake the perverted up while he would gather their identity. Suddenly 4 images appeared in front of him just for them to disappear down the canyon. Naruto smiled since he saw a rather peculiar set of eyes watching him, but vanished soon afterward. Jiraiya soon appeared outside and asked why the blonde felt the need to wake him before his shift ended. Sasuke and his goons appeared before they vanished. It appears that they're following us for reasons I'm not aware as of yet, commented Naruto with a solemn look on his face as he felt like he was the prey in this situation. That eludes me as well. Last time I heard he was after his brother. Maybe he wanted first to gather the Mangenkyu Sharingan before fighting Itachi. After all, even though it was short, you said he considered you a friend, so killing you may be his door to the next stage of the Sharingan, contemplated Jiraiya while holding his chin with his right hand. Naruto, though, looked amused at the possibility. He certainly had that chance twice now. I don't think that he intends to kill me. Being a hunter taught me something about how a prey feels, and I'm feeling that I'm one in this situation. Sometimes, instead of going after your enemy directly, it's better to go after who your enemy is after. Jiraiya didn't have to ponder much for the blonde's words. It immediately made him realize this troublesome situation they were about to go through. Do you think he's following you in hopes of meeting with his brother? Asked Jiraiya, before Naruto nodded in the affirmative, but even this situation caused him to smile in amusement. It would certainly prove to be a good distraction for us to escape while Sasuke and Itachi fight to the death. Kaizen would engage with his team, so we will be free to go then. Maybe this goes in favor of Konoha and everyone ends up killing one another, or let the winning side weak for me to deliver the killing blow. This time Jiraiya could see aspects of a hunter-nin's line of thinking in Naruto's words. A hunter would seek every advantage he could in order to reach the objective, and that's exactly what Naruto was pondering on right now. His plan was brutal, but no less efficient. Nevertheless, it didn't mean the Sannin enjoyed such actions. Naruto sensed the Sannin's displeasure and smiled, thus explaining the situation he was now in. One thing I learned, Jiraiya, was that it never goes well for the prey, so considering the fact that right now I'm the prey, I'll have to turn the tables around, don't I? The blonde had the decency to show a grin for his white-haired teacher, since he was hearing Kyuubi's words praising him for his insight. The Sannin, though, wasn't sharing Naruto's amusement in this whole ordeal. I just don't know if I prefer the blonde idiot from before, or the brutally killing machine you ended up becoming, Naruto, lamented Jiraiya, before giving his back to the blonde. I treat my enemies as they would treat me, Jiraiya. If I recall, the Yondaime Hokage won the war by wiping out the entire Io forces at the last Shinobi War. He did so protecting this village by killing more than 1,000 shinobi with the Hiraishin and the Rasengan. Now, you're accusing me that I'm not more than a killing machine. If they kill each other, then the village wouldn't need to worry about the Uchiha bloodline to come bite us in the end. All I do is for Konoha's well-being by ridding ourselves from our enemies. While right, it wasn't righteous in Jiraiya's opinion, as he often thought the boy's actions as being. Gone was the blonde naive genin who believed that despite the Uka's treason that his teammate wasn't to be treated as a criminal. That blonde believed in second chances, whereas this new one certainly don't, and would do everything in his power to assure that those who wronged Konoha once didn't live to show that they could have changed if given the chance to do so. A hardened shinobi, Jiraiya concluded. His mind is now set on the ninja way, I suppose. And it's true, Minato did kill more Io ninjas than anyone could count. Turning enemies against one another is a risky game, Naruto, and I hope beyond hope that you're doing what's best for the village, thought Jiraiya as he smiled back at the blonde. Forget I said anything, kid, it just surprised me to hear you of all people saying these words. Get some sleep, I'll wake you up when the sun is up. Jiraiya, then, was alone with his arms crossed, wondering about the future events. Now that Naruto mentioned the possibility of Sasuke going after Naruto just to get to Itachi was a more plausible one than aiming for the Mangekyou Sharingan. Now, Jiraiya wondered if even inside Iwagakure they would be safe, considering that Itachi of all people could enter the village without even trying. The next day. As the sun appeared on the horizon, Naruto was already up without Jiraiya needing to wake him up. They cleaned everything and proceeded their way towards Iwagakure, while followed by Sasuke's team distanced by a mile. Sasuke wondered yesterday if Naruto was able to ascertain his identity, since because of the distance, the blonde looked no more than a faint outline for Sasuke, and his chakra was dormant enough to tell that the blonde was sleeping while on guard duty. He felt compelled to underestimate the dope, but for some odd reason he reasoned that it wouldn't be wise to do so. The pace that they were traveling spoke highly of their speeding skills, and Sasuke was certain that Naruto wasn't even trying hard to cope with the Sannin's velocity. Also, because of the Sharingan and the bright light, Sasuke was able to realize with a bit of shock that the blonde gained a lot of muscles, and while not bigger than Jogo, he was certainly bigger than Sasuke. Another fact that worried Sasuke was the level of control the blonde was displaying. Normally, Naruto's chakra was wild, almost like an untamed beast, but now Sasuke's Sharingan could ascertain that the blonde was using only the bare minimum to travel, and his chakra flow was steady. While following, the blonde was becoming a mystery to the Uchiha. He half wondered if the dope was still insistent on bringing him back, or not, since he stopped going after Sasuke. Not only that, but now it was Sasuke who was going towards him. Imagine the irony of the situation. After approaching a clearing, the snake team suddenly skidded to a halt as they looked a couple of Io shinobi together with Naruto and Jiraiya, probably to escort them to the village. Back to Naruto and Jiraiya, none of the story that they were told made any sense. According to the Jounin leader of the escort mission, The reason for all of this was because Kusagakure was high on their borders in order to expand their territory, and they wanted to certify that the Chunin competitors wouldn't be harmed. Jiraiya turned to Naruto and asked him to be careful of their surroundings for any sort of trap, which Naruto nodded with his head. As one of the great hidden villages, Iwa shouldn't be concerned with a small village like Kusagakure wanting to take over. Naruto noticed that the Iwa shinobis were looking at him with suspicious looks and sighed because of the unwanted attention he would soon have once arriving at the village. He was aware of the possibility that the village mistook his appearance with the late Yondaime Hokage. He sensed that Sasuke's team stopped for a while and continued to follow him, maintaining further distance from him. 2 hours after, Iwagakure was already appearing on the horizon, and Naruto could very well see the numbers of mountains and rocks that surrounded the village. Every piece of construction was made out of rock and mud, since those were the only minerals found in abundance near the region. Once they walked inside the village, Naruto and Jiraiya's senses expanded in order to avoid any sudden attacks, and just as Naruto and Jiraiya predicted, not a single soul didn't send hateful glances at Naruto because of his appearance. Sasuke's team entered as well, albeit not by conventional methods. Naruto and Jiraiya stopped in front of a hotel until the leader turned. "Welcome to Iwagakure, Jiraiya-san and Naruto-san. You both are required to be present at the village arena north from here at dawn. Don't be late, otherwise you'll be disqualified." After the leader and his group vanished, Jiraiya and Naruto went into the building in order to grab their keys and start looking in their rooms for traps or hidden wires. At the Tsuchikage's office. The Tsuchikage was an older man than the Sandaime Hokage, wrinkled and the shortest man possibly alive. One considerable and quite impossible to take the eyes away from was the man's nose, filled with wrinkles and quite thick considering his entire face. Also, because of his height, he needed a pillow on his chair for him to rise to the desk. But make no mistake to his pitiful and old appearance, as he was the best dust ninjutsu user in all of Iwagakure. The old man was reviewing the documents of the Chunin exams until the same shinobi who escorted Naruto and Jiraiya arrived. "Tsuchikage-sama, the target is at the hotel as per requested, sir," said the Jounin as he kneeled down in respect to a higher presence in the room. The old man smiled and scratched the tip of his nose before he pulled a file on the first drawer of his cabinet. When the Hokage sent the file from the only genin from the Leaf Village who would take part in the exam, the Tsuchikage made some digging and managed to raise this Uzumaki Naruto's picture. To his shock, the genin looked the splitting image of the one that was responsible for Iwa's fall on the last great shinobi war, one Yondaime Hokage. Ever since he first laid eyes on the picture, the old man started wondering about any possible genetic similarities between this Uzumaki Naruto and Namikaze Minato. Aside from the appearance though, the old man couldn't figure anything else. Said information wasn't even available in the black market, as the Tsuchikage chose to pick his information from. Nevertheless, the man had some other plans in order to uncover the truth, and that was by blood. Namikaze Minato was a god amongst shinobi, but one Iwa shinobi managed to make a scratch on his arm with a kunai before he was killed. The kunai went back to Iwa and the blood was stored for further analysis. At the time, it didn't tell much about the ability that made Konoha win the war, nor did aid Iwa in any way, however they kept it stored for future use. The man's plan was to try and extract Naruto's blood to find a match. If the match was positive, then Iwa would finally get their revenge on what the Yondaime Hokage did. The old man pressed a button on the intercom. "Send Kuretsuchi here right away, I have an assignment for her." Sooner after releasing the button, he turned his chair to grab the rest of the files, just when suddenly a woman with short black hair broke through the office window, before rolling down and presenting in front of the Tsuchikage. The old man didn't even turn, and not evident of sudden chakra usage to prove that he was ready for any attempt on his life, which meant that the woman in front of him loved doing this grand entrances quite a lot, especially since she was just promoted to Jounin. Kuretsuchi, or Black Earth as she was called between her peers, wore the standard Iwa Jounin outfit with fishnet trousers. Her eyes were cerulean blue and her hair fell enough to cover half of Iwa headband. "You called, old man? I was just enjoying a nice set of dango sticks and some nice sake. What do you have for me?" After blatantly scrutinizing the most important man in the village, she smiled once she hit the cage's nerve. Well, anyone in Iwa knew that calling him words like old, senile, ancient, and archaic, it was enough to send the man on edge, and this happens to be one of her hobbies. The Tsuchikage for his part snorted at the woman in front of him, tease him like always. The problem is that just the word was enough to set him on edge, even if he already expected the wit remark. Kuretsuchi, I have an A- ranked mission for you, take a look at this picture. He then handed the picture to the woman, and as she looked at the picture, her hormones started kicking immediately. Man, this guy is hot, she thought. While she was fantasying about the blonde, the Kage cleared his throat and explained the mission. This man's name is Uzumaki Naruto, and as you already figured out or not, we believe he's the splitting image of the Yondaime Hokage. However, before we set to kill him and possibly start a war with Konoha, we need to be sure that he's in fact the man's son or not. It will be up to you to get a sample of his blood. The problem here is that you cannot openly attack him, as that would violate the rules that every hidden village signed up in order to host the Chunin exams. This way, you'll have to think of something in order to get us his sample. He'll be here for the duration of the exams, so you have until the end of the exams to finish the mission. Any questions? Explained the Tsuchikage before he saw the woman nod. Just one. How long until you realize you're too old to even run this village any longer? Ha 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 ha. See you, old man. Certainly pissing the old man as her favorite hobby, and she carried on with such pride, before she jumped at the window once more, just as dust shurikens pierced the office where the woman would have been. Damn this girl, I'll get here sometime. The man always forgot to get her once he had the chance, and she ended up stepping on him once more. And Konoha . Back in Konoha, a lone man with a stick walked along his lone propriety surrounded by a large forest which was located in an abandoned training ground near the Forest of Death. To the untrained eye, it would seem that the old man was enjoying his retirement alone on his cabinet, but every step he took, every direction he went to, at least two of his root operatives would follow from the shadows. He then entered inside the property where he would begin his timed tea ceremony, a ritual he allowed in his hardened experience shinobi life. He positioned himself in the middle of the room near a fireplace where he would heat the water together with the herbs while allowing the nice and smooth smell to fill the room. He could feel utter relaxation and peace from doing this every day, but that didn't mean that an old war like him became unaware of his surroundings. He smiled upon knowing the two hidden Anbis hidden inside the hidden passage just below the roof, and could only pity Tsunade's failed attempt to spy on his activities. Suddenly, though, an unexpected occurrence happened, and certainly it took him by surprise if his frowned face was any indication. There, a few meters away from him, a plant started materializing from the ground until Setsu appeared with all his glory. Danzo, it appears that your services will no longer be required. I'll enjoy feasting on your dead body. The message to the War Hawk was loud and clear about Akatsuki's intentions. He already sensed the Anbis leaving the vicinity and frowned in dismay at the damn organization from ruining his plans. No matter though, at least Akatsuki will be now with a member shorter. Danzo smiled as he signaled before almost 10 root Anbis appeared surrounding their leader. With Naruto . Once getting inside their room, Naruto and Jiraiya immediately set out to find any sort of listening device or any sort of trap that could endanger their lives the minute one of them falls asleep. Once satisfied, they unpacked some of their stuff, thus freeing the package scrolls to carry weapons that would help Naruto during the exams starting tomorrow morning. After that, they were at the streets once more in order to find something to eat and found a nice barbecue place, before they entered and left half an hour later with their tanks full with steak and sake. After, the two went for a walk throughout the city as the sun was slowly setting on the horizon. The two of them knew that they were being followed, but none of them turned to see the followers. Nevertheless, both immediately thought about the next course of action. Since staying inside a village for a whole month, they had to at least know who were following them. Naruto guessed it was Sasuke like last time, but he couldn't be sure. Also, the fact that two other sources were coming their way as well was troubling. Jiraiya also could feel two people heading their way, albeit he knew that Sasuke would meet with them first. The worst part of it all was that Naruto never once lost that smile in amusement he was showing yesterday at the canyon. In fact, if possible, The blonde was even more amused than before. You're playing a huge gamble here, Naruto. Even if Sasuke does engage against Itachi and send him into a standstill, we still have to worry about Hoshigaki Kaizen, who is also an S-ranked missing nin. What do you propose we do if he is inclined to capture you while Sasuke is battling against Itachi? Jiraiya wasn't crazy enough to just let Naruto handle the situation on his own. He knew the blonde was strong. Hell, the achievements Naruto was able to achieve at such an age was proof of that. Nevertheless, Kaizen was a seasoned shinobi with skills that remains to be seen. The blonde, for his part, although lost was that smile on his face, he was calm. Not to say that I'm powerful enough to beat a guy like him, but I believe that in order to capture me alive these days will be a hard task to come by. For this, he would need Itachi to use his genjutsu on me, so then Kaizen could come and subdue me without effort. No, since Itachi will be hard-pressed against Sasuke, Kaizen will be hard-pressed on fighting against you and me at the same time. Plus, the fact that Sasuke brought a unit with him meant he was prepared to deal with Itachi's partner, thus leaving him alone with his brother for a showdown. Although he didn't want to agree, he was inclined to agree that the odds of Kaizen breaking the usual Akatsuki formation was rather low, almost non-existent. There was a reason that they would travel in pairs, after all. Nevertheless, it wasn't on the Sanin's plans to be reckless and vouch their actions on runches, even if it was a highly reliable one at that. As they proceeded to walk, oak trees started to appear instead of the rock-made buildings, alerting Naruto and Jiraiya that they must be bearing the village outskirts by now, and since they weren't obliged to remain indoors, it wouldn't call much attention. As a clearing suddenly appeared, Naruto and Jiraiya stopped in the middle of it while Naruto was crossing his arms in bare annoyance at being chased by 4 amateurs. As a hunter-nin, Naruto started enjoying the feeling of a chase, and he was becoming well-versed in chasing an unsuspecting enemy, even those bearing on a ranked in skills. Sasuke's group's movements, though, were sloppy and leave much to be desired if following the prey without alert was their intention. It was repulsive to the blonde to even consider Sasuke a genius in the past with much noise he makes by each step he makes. Okay, Sasuke, you don't need to stalk me around anymore. You know I don't swing that way. As if the blonde's goal was to piss the Uchiha off and make him appear as fast as possible, he was successful. Well, at least the 4-man unit appeared in front of Naruto and Jiraiya, and Naruto could see that one of the 4, actually the only woman of the group, was blushing while looking at Sasuke. But rather she was another one of those fangirls in Konoha, or she was this way because of Naruto's comment, he didn't know. Sasuke, as soon as he laid eyes on the blonde with his Sharingan activated, his mind began to process a variety of new and unsettling information. First of all, his chakra wasn't a mess like the way he remembered, and with the Kyuubi's overflowing chakra traveling constantly throughout his chakra coils, he would imagine Naruto always having trouble to properly harness his chakra effectively. Second and most important was the fact that it was evident that Naruto knew he was being followed, and the dope he knew before was more aware of his surroundings than an academy student. Karin told him about never before feeling so much chakra from one person, and now that he improved his control over the endless bundle of energy, Sasuke felt hard-pressed to consider Naruto a threat all over again. I can see that you changed, dope. The clothes, I mean. The blonde had the decency to smile at the verbal taunting from his old teammate, while he scanned the raven-haired's team for any information he could get from it. His memory struck as he saw the peculiar sword strapped on the guy with blue hair and silly smile on his face. Skills with Kenjutsu, and possibly Suton Ninjutsu if the man was from Kirigakure, Naruto concluded. Few people had the skill to even lift that sword, much less use it in battle, so Kirigakure was the best call to ascertain this guy's abilities. The rest, though, were a mystery for the blonde. I already told you that I don't swing that way, Sasuke, so stop looking at my clothes. Moreover, I was wondering about why you felt inclined to follow me. Last time I checked, you specifically asked me to stay away from you. What gives? Still trying to piss me off, I see. As to the reason I'm following you is none of your concern. Taking the chance, I was wondering why you'd come to Iwa for the Chunin exams since by now, you would have become at least a Chunin. I wonder if you're still the same dope since we graduated. The tone of superiority was enough to make Naruto almost laugh uncontrollably inside his mind. True, he was a genin in rank, but the heads that he sent to Konoha were proof enough that ranks don't mean much in a hunter-nin's job. Regardless, Sasuke's ego was big enough to be diminished, so Naruto opted instead to keep as much information about his skills and secrecy for the moment. After all, information is power, right? You know, I was kicking back in Konoha, enjoying life a bit, you know. The ninja business was getting tiring, so I decided to just go with the flow. Who cares, anyway, about what rank a village gives you? What matters, truthfully, is whose kunai will end at the other's throat. Don't you agree, Sasuke-kun? Jiraiya was listening to everything in utter silence while paying attention to their surroundings. Two very strong presences were about to arrive soon, and he was being prepared. Nevertheless, he found it hard not to be amused at the psychological warfare that the blonde was performing right now. He recognized a few of the members of Sasuke's team, as the blue-haired man's name was Suijutsu, a genin from Kirigakure that was supposed to take over Momoki Zabuza's position at the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. The big one named Joigo was Orochimaru's lab rat for the cursed seal, as he remembered seeing the boy get captured almost 10 years ago. He paid attention as Sasuke snorted at the blonde's commentary. I'm surprised that I actually believe with your assessment, though. True, a genin could kill a jounin if given the opportunity to do so, while very unlikely. Moreover, I was wondering if you already know about my missing nin status. My question was, why only now was I enlisted? Was it you or Sakura who convinced the Hokage? If Naruto was surprised, he didn't show it. The truth was that he left Konoha, assuming that Tsunade wouldn't label the Uchiha as a missing nin, but apparently he was wrong. However, this new information only proved to increase his grin at the sudden change of events. Now, instead of the ridding Konoha of an S-ranked missing nin, he would have his first A-ranked, which he was sure Sasuke would be labeled at. Well, after you went rogue, we initially thought that the cursed seal was controlling your thoughts, so the Hokage was convinced not to enlist you that time. Within time, I at least realized that I was being naive, because you actually did it to be with your love, Orochimaru. Naruto was satisfied the minute he heard snickering coming from Sasuke's team, but he pressed further. Recently, she asked me what I thought about it, and I explained to her that you had free will in what you did, and cursed seal or not, it wouldn't take long for you to do what you did. I was sure Sakura would still stick up with you, even after what you did, but I guess realization was upon them now. He knew he was getting to Sasuke's nerve, and he knew as well that what he would say next would enrage the Uchiha to his core. No matter though, because according to his senses, two presences were approaching this place, and certainly Sasuke would forget the blonde the minute he arrives. I'd say congratulations are in order, Sasuke. Oh, and why is that? Sasuke didn't like what the blonde was trying to insinuate. You told me you wanted to kill your brother because of what he did to your family. He committed a crime against the village, and you also committed a crime against the village. He left Konoha willingly, just as you also did, and now just as he was declared a missing nin, you were also declared as one. By this time, Sasuke's blood was boiling by the blonde's words. Comparing himself to his brother, how dare he? The only difference between you and Itachi, Sasuke, is that he's stronger than you'll ever be, cursed seal or not. That did it. Sasuke immediately charged at Naruto with his swords drawn. No matter his vows to kill no one but Itachi, the dope will die right here for what he dared saying. Naruto was smiling the whole time, satisfied that he could, so easily, get to Sasuke's head like this. He knew Itachi and Kaizen were already here, and all it took was for Naruto to defend Sasuke's sword with his own, until a voice was heard and the younger Uka's heart exploded. Foolish little brother. That's it for this part. If you enjoyed it, then like, share and subscribe for the next part, as it's going to be more interesting, and also check out the other playlist. Hope you would like them too.